YouTube yet. Okay, now we're on. Now we're
You
live.
want me to read stage directions?
Okay. Yeah, Angus, do you want to do stage? I don't think we need. You're really good with judgment. What stage directions we need and which ones we don't. You're good with that. Okay. And like I just said a tiny bit, this group is diversifying more and more of color. And today it just was last minute casting and a big mess. It's my fault. But we're doing that a lot more, but believe me.
All right, well,
so we're starting.
Everyone. Yeah, I'm Paul Sugarman. This is the Instant Shakespeare Company. This is the end of our 22nd season of presenting all of Shakespeare's plays. We do have another reading tomorrow of Dear Brutus by J.M. Barrie, but this will be our completing our 22nd cycle of all of the plays every year. And so my name is Paul Sugarman, and I'm going to be doing Lavash the Clown today. And our playmaster today is Virginia Hammers.
Hammer, only one.
Paul, Kate is here. She needs to be
Goes a
promoted.
long way.
Gotcha.
Hi, Ken. Okay. All right. Hi, I'm Virginia Hammer, and I am the Countess of Roussillon in France. The play takes place in France and also in Florence, Italy. And so we have the heroine of this play. All characters in this play really are flawed, and that's on purpose, and we'll talk about that in the intermission. But we have the heroine, Christina.
Hi, Christina Osterling reading Helena.
Yay. Actually, you know what? My first play mastering that I did with this group, 2006, I was Helena. I remember, David, you were Paroles, remember? And now we have, speaking of whom, we have Asher.
Hello, I'm Asher Susswine reading Paroles.
Right. And we have Helena's would-be love, Eduardo.
Hi, I'm Eduardo Perez. I'm playing Bertram.
Yeah, and we have a big part of the plot, Mark.
I'm Mark Gehring playing the King of France.
Right. And as Paul said, he's playing Lavach, who is the clown employee of the Countess. And now we have people that are really wearing a lot of hats and really great stuff with lots of range. Oh, hi, Kate. Oh, you don't have to come if you're busy with your kitty cat and everything moving till the second half.
Oh, yeah. I just thought I'd stop in.
All right, excellent. Well, this is Kate. Introduce yourself, please, in your role.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Nicole Shook Mitchell. I'm reading Diana.
All right. And okay, so now we have important parts of the plot, wearing many hats in no particular order. We have Ken Wayne. Ken?
I'm Ken. I'm doing the First Lord, the Interpreter, the Steward. I think he has a name, Ronaldo.
Right.
A couple of other things.
You're very busy today. But we just said before, if Steward is just too much for you, I mean, you're in and out.
No, it's not too much.
Somebody could do it. Okay. All right. So, and we also have the versatile Jonathan.
Hi, Jonathan Waterfield. I'm speaking the Second Lord and also the Second French Gentleman.
Yes. And we have the versatile David Palmer Brown.
Hi, my name is David Palmer Brown, and I'm playing Lord Lafew and a French gentleman and another gentleman.
Yes. And we have Asher from London. I mean,
Angus.
The other one, yeah. Angus Hepburn from London, Duke of Florence. And this could be fun, Mariana. And a couple of other things here, there. And I'll be trying to keep track of scenes and entrances for everybody to keep following who's coming and who's going.
Right. And we have an extremely versatile actress full of range who studied under Stella Adler, I think with Stella, right, Jackie?
Yes, I did.
Amazing.
Okay, I'm Jacqueline Margolis, and I'm playing the widow. And I seem to be a soldier at one point, and later on you'll see that.
Second soldier, you can stick with that if you want. That's fine.
Oh, that's okay. He has 2 lines. I'll do it.
I know. It's lousy.
No problem.
All right. Okay. I want to keep things fair. I mean, if you want to do Stewart and Ken, you're already kind of busy.
Yeah, Yeah, if they're willing to.
But that's, now I'm being obfuscated.
I mean, to be fair, yeah.
Jackie, do you want to do Steward or not?
The Steward?
Steward is, oh, never mind, because Steward's actually twice and you might get confused at this point. It's too
Okay.
late to notice.
Okay.
You know, okay, sorry. All right, without any further ado, all's well that ends well. And now I gotta get,
what?
yeah, but I'm in that scene and I gotta get the PDF, so here we go.
I'll speak slowly. All's well that ends well. Act 1, Scene 1. Enter young Bertram, Count of Roussillon, his mother, and Helena, Lord Lafew, all dressed in black.
In delivering my son from me, I bury a second husband.
And I, in going, madam, weep o'er my father's death anew. But I must attend his majesty's command, to whom I am now in ward, evermore in subjection.
You shall find of the king a husband, madam, you, sir, a father. He that so generally is at all times good must of necessity hold his virtue to you, whose worthiness would stir it up where it wanted, rather than lack it where there is such abundance.
What hope is there of his majesty's amendment?
Oh, he hath abandoned his physicians, madam, under whose practices he hath persecuted time with hope, and finds no other advantage in the process, but only the losing of hope by time.
This young gentlewoman had a father, oh, that had, how sad a passage 'tis, whose skill was almost as great as his honesty, had it stretched so far, would have made nature immortal, and death should have play for lack of work. Would, for the king's sake, he were living, I think it would be the death of the king's disease.
Well, how called you the man you speak of, madam?
He was famous, sir, in his profession, and it was his great right to be so. Gerard de Narbonne.
Ah, well, he was excellent indeed, madam. The king very lately spoke of him admiringly and mourningly. He was skillful enough to have lived still, if knowledge could be set up against mortality.
What is it, my good lord, the king languishes of?
A fistula, my lord.
I heard not of it before.
Well, I would it were not notorious. Was this gentlewoman the daughter of Gerard de Narbonne?
His sole child, my lord, and bequeathed to my overlooking. I have those hopes of her good, that her education promises her dispositions she inherits, which she makes fair gifts fairer. For where an unclean mind carries virtuous qualities, their commendations go with pity. They are virtues and traitors too. In her they are the better for their simpleness. She derives her honesty and achieves her goodness.
Oh, your commendations, madam, get from her tears.
'Tis the best brine a maiden can season her praise in. The remembrance of her father never approaches her heart, but the tyranny of her sorrows takes all livelihood from her cheek. No more of this. Helena, go to, no more, lest it be rather thought you affect a sorrow than to have.
I do affect a sorrow indeed, but I have it too.
Moderate lamentation is the right of the dead, excessive grief the enemy to the living.
If the living be enemy to the grief, the excess makes it soon mortal.
Madam, I desire your holy wishes.
How understand we that?
Be thou blessed, Bertram, and succeed thy father in manners as in shape. Thy blood and virtue contend for empire in thee, and thy goodness share with thy birthright. Love all, trust a few, do wrong no one, to none. Be able for thine enemies rather in power than use, and keep thy friend under thine own life's key. Be checked for silence, but never taxed for speech. What heaven more will, that thee may furnish, and my prayers plucked down fall on thy head. Farewell, my lord. 'Tis an unseasoned courtier. Good my lord, advise him.
Well, he cannot want the best that shall attend his love.
Heaven bless him. Farewell, Bertram.
The best wishes that can be forged in your thoughts be servants to you. Be comfortable to my mother, your mistress, and make much of her.
Yeah. Farewell, pretty lady. You must hold the credit of your father.
Oh, were that all? I think not on my father, and these great tears grace his remembrance more than those I shed for him. What was he like? I have forgot him. My imagination carries no favor into but Bertram's. I am undone. Oh, there is no living, none, if Bertram be away. 'Twere all one that I should love a bright, particular star, and think to wed it. He is so above me. In his bright radiance and collateral light must I be comforted, not in his sphere. The ambition in my love thus plagues itself. The hind that would be mated by the lion must die for love. Shh. 'Twas pretty, though a plague, to see him every hour, to sit and draw his arched brows, his hawking eye, his curls, in our heart's table. A heart too capable of every line and trick of his sweet favor. But now he's gone, and my idolatrous fancy must sanctify his relics. Who comes here? One that goes with him. I love him for his sake, and yet I know him a notorious liar, think him a great way fool, solely a coward. Yet these fixed evils sit so fit in him that they take place when virtue's steely bones look bleak of the cold wind. Withal, full oft we see cold wisdom waiting on superfluous folly.
Save you, fair queen.
And you, monarch.
No.
And no.
Are you meditating on virginity?
Aye. You have some stain of soldier in you. Let me ask you a question. Man is enemy to virginity. How may we barricado it against him?
Keep him out.
But he assails, and our virginity, though valiant, in the defense yet is weak. Unfold to us some warlike resistance.
There is none. Man setting down before you will undermine you and blow you up.
Bless our poor virginity from underminers and blowers up. Is there no military policy how virgins might blow up men?
Virginity being blown down, man will quicklier be blown up. Marry, in blowing him down again, in blowing him down again with the breach yourselves made, you lose your city. It is not politic in the commonwealth of nature to preserve virginity. Loss of virginity is national increase, and there was never virgin got till virginity was first lost. That you are made of is metal to make virgins. Virginity, by being once lost, may be 10 times found. By being ever kept, it is ever lost. 'Tis too cold a companion, away with't.
I'll stand for it a little, though therefore I die a virgin.
There's little can be said in it. 'Tis against the rule of nature. To speak on the part of virginity is to accuse your mothers, which is most infallible disobedience. He that hangs himself is a virgin. Virginity murders itself, and should be buried in highways out of all sanctified limit as a desperate offendress against nature. Virginity breeds mites, much like a cheese. consumes itself to the very paring, and so dies with feeding his own stomach. Besides, virginity is peevish, proud, idle, made of self-love, which is the most inhibited sin in the canon. Keep it not. You cannot choose but lose by it. Out with it. Within 10 years, it will make itself 10, which is a goodly increase, and the principle itself not much the worse. Away with't.
How might one do, sir, to lose it by her own liking?
Let me see. Marry, ill to like him that ne'er it likes. 'Tis a commodity will lose the gloss with lying. The longer kept, the less worth. Off with it while it is vendible. Answer the time of request. Virginity, like an old courtier, wears her cap out of fashion, richly suited, but unsuitable. Just like the brooch and the toothpick, which wear not now. Your date is better in your pie and your porridge than in your cheek. And your virginity, your old virginity, is like one of our French withered pears. It looks ill, it eats dryly, marry, 'tis a withered pear. It was formerly better, marry, yet 'tis a withered pear. Will you anything with't?
Not my virginity yet. There shall your master have 1,000 loves, a mother and a mistress and a friend, a phoenix, captain and an enemy, a guide, a goddess and a sovereign, a counselor, a traitoress and a dear, his humble ambition, proud humility, his jarring concord and his discord dulcet, his faith, his sweet disaster, with a world of pretty, fond, adaptious Christendoms and blinking Cupid gossips. Now shall he, I know not what he shall. God send him well, the court's a learning place, and he is one.
What one, in faith?
That I wish well. 'Tis pity.
What's pity?
That wishing well had not a body in't, which might be felt, that we the poorer born, whose baser stars do shut us up in wishes, might with effects of them follow our friends, and show what we alone must think, which never returns us thanks.
A page enters.
Monsieur Perles, my lord calls for you.
Little Helen, farewell. If I can remember thee, I will think of thee at court.
Monsieur Parolles, you were born under a charitable star.
Under Mars, I.
I especially think under Mars.
Why under Mars?
The wars hath kept you so under that you must needs be born under Mars.
When he was predominant.
When he was in retrograde, I think, rather.
Why think you so?
Well, you go so much backward when you fight.
That's for advantage.
It's always running away when fear proposes the safety. But the composition that your valor and fear makes in you is a virtue of a good wing, and I like the wear well.
I am so full of businesses I cannot answer thee acutely. I will return perfect courtier, in the which my instructions shall serve to naturalize thee, so thou wilt be capable of a courtier's counsel, and understand what advice shall thrust upon thee. Else thou diest in thine unthankfulness, and thine ignorance makes thee away. Farewell. When thou hast leisure, say thy prayers. When thou hast none, remember thy friends. Get thee a good husband, and use him as he uses thee. So, farewell.
Our remedies oft in ourselves do lie, which we ascribe to heaven. The fated sky gives us free scope, only doth backward pull our slow designs when we ourselves are dull. What power is it which mounts my love so high that makes me see and cannot feed mine eye? Mightiest space in fortune nature brings to join like likes and kiss like native things. Impossible be strange attempts to those that weigh their pains in sense and do dispose what hath been cannot be. Whoever strove to show her merit that did miss her love? The king's disease. Oh, my project may deceive me, but my intents are fixed and will not leave me.
Hurry of trumpets announces the King of France with letters and diverse attendants, including the Domain brothers, Lords G and E.
The Florentines and Senois are by the ears, have fought with equal fortune, and continue a braving war.
So 'tis reported, sir.
It is most credible. We here receive it. A certainty vouched from our cousin Austria with caution that the Florentine will move us for speedy aid, wherein our dearest friend prejudicates in the business and would seem to have us make denial.
His love and wisdom approved so to your majesty may plead for amplest credence.
He hath armed our answer, and Florence is denied before he comes. Yet for our gentlemen that mean to see the Tuscan service, freely have they leave to stand on either part.
It well may serve a nursery to our gentry, who are sick for breathing and exploit.
What's he comes here?
Bertram, the few and parole enter.
It is the Count Rossignol, my good lord, young Bertram.
Oh, youth, thou bearest thy father's face. Frank nature, rather curious than in haste, hath well composed thee. Thy father's moral parts mayst thou inherit too. Welcome to Paris.
My thanks and duty are your majesties.
I would I had that corporal soundness now, as when thy father and myself in friendship first tried our soldiership. He did look far into the service of the time and was discipled of the bravest. He lasted long, but on us both did haggish age steal on and wore us out of act. It much prepares me to talk of your good father. In his youth, he had the wit which I can well observe today in our young lords, but they may jest till their own scorn return to them unnoted ere they can hide their levity and honor. So, like a courtier, contempt nor bitterness were in his pride or sharpness. If they were, his equal had awakened them, and his honor, clocked to itself, knew the true minute when exception bid him to speak. And at this time his tongue obeyed his hand. Who were below him he used as creatures of another place, and bowed his eminent top to their low ranks, making them proud of his humility. In their poor praise he humbled. Such a man might be a copy to these younger times, which, followed well, would demonstrate them now but goers backward.
His good remembrance, sir, lies richer in your thoughts than on his tomb. So in a proof lives not his epitaph as in your royal speech.
Would I were with him, he would always say, methinks I hear him now. His plausive words he scattered not in ears, but grafted them to grow there and to bear. Oh, let me not live. Then this his good melancholy oft began on the catastrophe and heel of past time when it was out. Let me not live, quoth he, after my flame lacks oil, to be the snuff of younger spirits, whose apprehensive senses all but new things disdain, whose judgments are mere fathers of their garments, whose constancies expire before their fashions. This he wished. I, after him, do after him wish to, since I nor wax nor honey can bring home, I quickly were dissolved from my hive to give some laborers room.
Your loved son, they that least lend it you shall lack you first.
I fill a place, I know it. How long is Count since the physician at your father's died? He was much famed.
Some 6 months since, my lord.
If he were living, I would try him yet. Lend me an arm. The rest have worn me out with several applications. Nature and sickness debated at their leisure. Welcome, Count. My sons, no dearer.
Thank your majesty.
And they exit accompanied by a flourish of trumpets. Act 1, Scene 3. Enter the Countess, Steward, and a clown.
Countess.
Virginia.
Virginia?
Okay. Okay, everybody. Yes, I'm so sorry. I'm almost there.
Page 15, bottom.
Yeah. He hops around. Okay. I will now hear. What say you of this gentlewoman?
Madam, the care I have had to even your content, I wish might be found in the calendar of my past endeavors. For then we wound our modesty and make foul, wound our modesty, and make foul the clearness of our deservings when of ourselves we publish them.
What does this knave here? Get you gone, Sarah. The complaints I have heard of you, I do not all believe. 'Tis my slowness that I do not. For I know you lack not folly to commit them, and have ability enough to make such knaveries yours.
'Tis not unknown to you, madam. I am a poor fellow.
Well, sir.
No, madam, 'tis not well that I am poor, though many of the rich are damned. But if I may have your ladyship's goodwill to go to the world, Isbel, the woman, and will do as we may.
Wilt thou needs be a beggar?
I do beg your goodwill in this case.
In what case?
In Isbel's case and mine own. Service is no heritage, and I think I shall never have the blessings of God till I have issue of my body. For they say bairns are blessings.
Tell me thy reason why thou wilt marry.
My poor body, madam, requires it. I am driven on by the flesh, and he must needs go that the devil drives.
Is this all your worship's reason?
Oh, faith, madam, I have other holy reasons, such as they are.
May the world know them?
I have been, madam, a wicked creature, as you and all flesh and blood are, and indeed I do marry that I may repent.
Thy marriage sooner than thy wickedness.
I am out of friends, madam, and I hope to have friends for my wife's sake.
Such friends are thine enemies, knave.
Oh, you're shallow, madam. In great friends, for the knaves come to do that for which I am aweary of. He that ears my land spares my team and gives me to in the crop. If I be his cuckold, he's my drudge. He that comforts my wife is the cherisher of my flesh and blood. He that cherishes my flesh and blood loves my flesh and blood, and he that loves my flesh and blood is my friend. Ergo, he that kisses my wife is my friend. If men could be contented with what they are, there were no fear in marriage. For young Charbon the Puritan and old Poysum the Papist, howsoe'er their hearts are severed in religion, their heads are both one, that they may jewel horns together like any deer in the herd.
Wilt thou ever be a foul-mouthed and calumnious knave?
A prophet I, madam, and I speak the truth the next way, for I the ballad will repeat, which men full true shall find. Your marriage comes by destiny, your cuckoo sings by kind.
Get you gone, sir. I'll talk with you more anon.
May it please you, madam, that he bid Helen come to you. Of her I am to speak.
Sirrah, tell my gentlewoman I would speak with her. Helen, I mean.
Was this fair face the cause, quoth she, why the Grecians sacked Troy? Fond on Dunfond was this King Priam's joy? With that she sighed as she stood bis, and gave this sentence then, among 9 bad, if one be good, among 9 bad, if one be good, there's yet one good in 10.
What, 1 good in 10? You corrupt the song, Sirrah.
One good woman in 10, madam, which is purifying of the song. Good God would serve the world so all the year. We'd find no fault with a tithe woman if I were the parson. 1 in 10, quoth they. And we might have a good woman born, but o'er every blazing star or at an earthquake, to mend the lottery well. A man may draw his heart out ere a pluck one.
You'll be gone, sir knave, and do as I command ye.
Oh,
You.
That man should be at woman's command, and yet no hurt done. Though honesty be no Puritan, yet it will do no hurt. It will wear the surplice of humility or the black gown of a big heart. I am going, forsooth. The business is for Helen to come hither.
Well now.
I know, madam, you love your gentlewoman entirely.
Faith, I do. Her father bequeathed her to me, and she herself, without other advantage, may lawfully make title to as much love as she finds. There is more owing her than is paid, and more shall be paid her than she'll demand.
Madam, I was very late more near her than I think she wished me. Alone she was, and did communicate to herself her own words to her own ears. She thought, I dare vow for her, they touched not any stranger sense. Her matter was, she loved your son. Fortune said she was no goddess, that had put such difference betwixt their 2 estates. Love no god that would not extend his might only, where qualities were level. Queen of virgins, that would suffer her poor knight surprised without rescue in the first assault or ransom afterward. This she delivered in the most bitter touch of sorrow that e'er I heard virgin exclaiming, which I held my duty speedily to acquaint you withal. Sit hence in the loss that may happen, it concerns you something to know it.
You have discharged this honestly. Keep it to yourself. Many likelihoods informed me of this before, which hung so tottering in the balance that I could neither believe it nor misdoubt. Pray you leave me. Stall this in your bosom, and I thank you for your honest care. I will speak with you further, anon.
Steward exits and Helen enters.
Even so it was with me when I was young. If ever we are nature's, these are ours. This thorn doth to our rose of youth rightly belong. Our blood to us, this to our blood is born. It is the show and seal of nature's truth, where love's strong passion is impressed in youth. By our remembrances of days foregone, such were our faults, or then we thought them none. Her eye is sick on it. I observe her now.
What is your pleasure, madam?
You know, Helen, I am a mother to you.
Mine honorable mistress.
Nay, a mother. Why not a mother? When I said a mother, methought you saw a serpent. What's in mother that you start at it? I say, I am your mother, and put you in the catalogue of those that were in womb mine. 'Tis often seen adoption strives with nature, and choice breeds a native slip to us from foreign seeds. You ne'er oppressed me with a mother's groan, yet I express to you a mother's care. God's mercy, maiden, does it curd my blood to say I am thy mother? What's the matter that this distempered messenger of wet, the many-colored iris rounds thine eye? Why, that you are my daughter?
That I am not.
I say, I am your mother.
Pardon, madam. The Count Rousillon cannot be my brother. I am from humble, he from honored name. No note upon my parents, his all noble, my master, my dear lord he is, and I his servant live, and will his vassal die. He must not be my brother.
Nor I your mother.
You are my mother, madam, would you were, so that my lord your son were not my brother. Indeed, my mother, or were you both our mothers, I care no more for than I do for heaven. So I were not his sister. Can't no other but I your daughter, he must be my brother.
Yes, Helen, you might be my daughter-in-law. God shield, you mean it not, daughter and mother. So strive upon your pulse. What, pale again? My fear hath catched your fondness. Now I see the mistress of your loveliness, and find your salt tears head. Now to all sense 'tis gross. You love my son. Invention is ashamed against the proclamation of thy passion, to say thou dost not. Therefore, tell me true. But tell me then, 'tis so. For look, thy cheeks confess it, truth to the other. And thy eyes see it so grossly shown in thy behaviors, that in their kind they speak it. Only sin and hellish obstinacy tie thy tongue, that truth should be suspected. Speak. Is it so? If it be so, you have wound a goodly clue. If it be not, forswear it howe'er I charge thee, as heaven shall work in me for thine avail, to tell me truly.
Good madam, pardon me.
Do you love my son?
Your pardon, noble mistress.
Love you, my son?
Do not you love him, madam?
Go not about. My love hath in it a bond whereof the world takes note. Come, come, disclose the state of your affection, for your passions have to the full appeached.
Then I confess, here on my knee before high heaven and you, that before you and next unto high heaven, I love your son. My friends were poor but honest, so is my love. Be not offended, for it hurts not him that he is loved of me. I follow him not by any token of presumptuous suit, nor would I have him till I too deserve him, yet never know how that desert should be. I know I love in vain, strive against hope, yet in this captious and intemperable sieve, I still pour in the waters of my love, and lack not to lose still. Thus Indian-like, religious in mine error, I adore the sun that looks upon his worshipper, but knows of him no more. Oh, my dearest madam, let not your hate encounter with my love, for loving where you do. But if yourself, whose aged honor cites a virtuous youth, did ever, in so true a flame of liking, wish chastely and love dearly that your Diane was both herself and love. Oh, then give pity to her whose state is such that cannot choose but lend and give where she is sure to lose, that seeks not to find that her search implies, but riddle-like lives sweetly where she dies.
Had you not lately an intent, speak truly, to go to Paris?
Madam, I had.
Wherefore? Tell true.
I will tell truth. By grace itself, I swear. You know my father left me some prescriptions of rare and proved effects, such as his reading and manifest experience, had collected for general sovereignty, and that he willed me in heedfulst reservation to bestow them as notes whose faculties inclusive were, more than they were in note. Amongst the rest, there is remedy, approved set down, to cure the desperate languishings whereof the king is rendered lost.
This was your motive for Paris, was it? Speak.
My lord, your son, made me think of this. Else Paris and the medicine and the king had from the conversation of my thoughts happily been absent then.
But think you, Helen, if you should tender your supposed aid, he would receive it? He and his physicians are of a mind. He that they cannot help him. They that they cannot help, how shall they credit a poor unlearned virgin when the schools emboweled of their doctrine have left off the danger to itself?
There's something in it more than my father's skill, which was the greatest of his profession, than in his good receipt. Shall for my legacy be sanctified by the luckiest stars in heaven. And would your honor but give me leave to try success, I'd venture to well lost life of mine on his grace's cure by such a day and hour.
Dost thou believe it?
I, madam, knowingly.
Why, Helen, thou shalt have my leave and love, means and attendance, and my loving greetings to those of mine in court. I'll stay at home and pray God's blessing into thy attempt. Be gone tomorrow, and be sure of this, what I can help thee to, thou shalt not miss.
And the exit. Act 2, Scene 1. Enter the king with divers young lords, taking leave for the Florentine wars. Count, Ross, and Parolas. Flourish of trumpets.
Farewell, young lords. These warlike principles do not throw from you. And you, my lords, farewell. Share the advice betwixt you. If both gain, all the gift doth stretch itself as 'tis received, and is enough for both.
'Tis our hope, sir, after well-entered soldiers, to return and find your grace in health.
No, no, it cannot be. And yet my heart will not confess he owes the malady that doth my life besiege. Farewell, young lords. Whether I live or die, be you the sons of worthy Frenchmen. Let higher Italy, those baited that inherit but the fall of the last monarchy, see that you come not to woo honor, but to wed it. When the bravest quiescent shrinks, find what you seek, that fame may cry you loud. I say, farewell.
Health at your bidding serve your majesty.
Those girls of Italy, take heed of them. They say our French lack language to deny if they demand. Beware of being captives before you serve.
Our hearts receive your warnings.
Farewell. Come hither to me.
Oh, my sweet lord, that you will stay behind us.
'Tis not his fault, the spark.
Oh, 'tis brave wars.
Most admirable. I have seen those wars.
I am commanded here and kept a coil with too young and next year and 'tis too early.
And thy mind stand to't, boy. Steal away bravely.
I shall stay here the four-horse to a smock, creaking my shoes on the plain masonry till honor be bought up and no sword worn, but one to dance with. By heaven, I'll steal away.
There's honor in the theft.
Committed, Count.
I am your accessory, and so farewell.
I grow to you, and our parting is a tortured body.
Farewell, Captain.
Sweet Monsieur Parolles.
Noble heroes, my sword and yours are kin. Good sparks and lustrous, a word, good metals. You shall find in the regiment of the Spinney one Captain Spurio, his cicatrice with an emblem of war here on his sinister cheek. It was this very sword entrenched it. Say to him, I live, and observe his reports for me.
We shall, noble Captain.
Mars dote on you for his novices. What will ye do?
State the king.
Use a more spacious ceremony to the noble lords. You have restrained yourself within the list of too cold an adieu. Be more expressive to them, for they wear themselves in the cap of the time. There do muster true gait, eat, speak, and move under the influence of the most received star. And though the devil lead the measure, such are to be followed. After them, and take a more dilated farewell.
I will do so.
Worthy fellows, and like to prove most sinewy swordmen.
Pardon, my lord, for me and for my tidings.
I'll see thee to stand up.
Then here's a man stands that has brought his pardon. I would you had kneeled, my lord, to ask me mercy, and that at my bidding you could so stand up.
I would I had, so I had broke thy pate and asked thee mercy for it.
Good faith, a cross. But my good lord, 'tis thus. Will you be cured of your infirmity?
No.
Oh, will you eat no grapes, my royal fox? Oh, yes, but you will. My noble grapes, and if my royal fox could reach them. I have seen a medicine that's able to breathe life into a stone, quicken a rock, and make you dance canary with sprightly fire and motion, whose simple touch is powerful to erase King Pippin, nay, to give great Charlemagne a pen in his hand and write to her a love line.
What her is this?
Why, doctor, she. My lord, there's one arrived, if you will see her. Now, by my faith and honor, if seriously I may convey my thoughts in this my light deliverance, I have spoke with one that in her sex, her years, profession, wisdom, and constancy hath amazed me more than I dare blame my weakness. Will you see her, for that is her demand, and know her business? That done, well, laugh well at me.
Now, good Lafew, bring in the admiration that we with thee may spend our wonder too, or take off thine by wondering how thou tookest it.
Ay, I'll fit you, and not be all day neither.
Thus he his special nothing ever prologues.
Nay, come your ways.
This haste hath wings indeed.
Nay, come your ways. This is his majesty. Now, say your mind to him. Well, a traitor you do look like, but such traitors his majesty seldom fears. I am Cressid's uncle that dare leave two together. Fare you well?
Now, fair one, does your business follow us?
Aye, my good lord. Gerard de Narbon was my father, and what he did profess well found.
I knew him.
The rather will I spare my praises towards him, knowing him is enough. On's bed of death, many receipts he gave me, chiefly one, which as the dearest issue of his practice and of his old experience, the only darling, he bade me store up as a triple eye, safer than mine own two. More dear I have so, and hearing your high majesty is touched with that malignant cause, wherein the honor of my dear father's gift stands chief in your power, I come to tender it, and my appliance with all bound humbleness.
We thank you, maiden, but may not be so credulous of cure. When our most learned doctors leave us, and the congregated college have concluded that laboring art can never ransom nature from her inaidable estate, I say we must not so stain our judgment or corrupt our hope to prostitute our past pure malady to empirics, or to dissever so our great self and our credit to esteem a senseless help, when help past sense we deem.
My duty then shall pay me for my pains. I will no more enforce mine office on you, humbly entreating from your royal thoughts a modest one to bear me back again.
I cannot give thee less to be called grateful, though thoughtest to help me, and such thanks I give, as one near death to those that wish him live. But what at full I know, thou knowest no part. I, knowing all my peril, thou no art.
What I can do no hurt to try, since you are set up your rest against remedy. He that of greatest works is finisher, oft does them by the weakest minister. So Holy Writ in babes hath judgment shown, when judges have been babes. Great floods have flown from simple sources, and great seas have dried when miracles have by the greatest been denied. Oft expectation fails, and most oft there when most it promises. And oft it hits where hope is coldest, and despair most shifts.
I must not hear thee. Fare thee well, kind maid. Thy pains not used must be thyself be paid. Proffers not took, reap thanks for their reward.
Inspired merit so by breath is barred. It is not so with him that all things knows, as 'tis with us that square our guests by shows. But most it is presumption in us, when the help of heaven we count the active men. Dear sir, to my endeavors give consent. Of heaven, not me, make an experiment. I am not an imposture that proclaim myself against the level of mine aim, but know I think, and think I know most sure, my art is not past power, nor you past cure.
Art thou so confident? Within what space hopest thou my cure?
The greatest grace, lending grace, ere twice the horses of the sun shall bring their fiery torture his diurnal ring. Ere twice in murk and occidental damp, most Hesperus hath quenched her sleepy lamp. Or 24 times the pilot's glass hath told the thievish minutes how they pass. What is infirm from your second parts shall fly, health shall live free, and sickness freely die.
Upon thy certainty and confidence, what darest thou venture?
Tax of impudence, a strumpet's boldness, a divulged shame, traduced by odious ballads. My maiden's name, seared otherwise, nay, worse of worst, extended with vilest fortune, let my life be ended.
Methinks in thee some blessed spirit doth speak. His powerful sound within an organ weak. And what impossibility would slay in common sense saves another way. Thy life is dear, for all that life can rate, worth name of life in thee hath estimate. Youth, beauty, wisdom, courage, all that happiness and prime can happy call. Thou this to hazard needs must intimate. skill infinite or monstrous desperate, sweet practicers thy physic, I will try, that ministers thine own death if I die.
If I break time or flinch in property of what I spoke, unpitied let me die, and well deserved, not helping death's my fee, but if I help, what do you promise me?
Make thy demand.
But will you make it even?
Aye, by my scepter and my hopes of health.
Then shalt thou give me with thy kingly hand what husband in thy power I will command. Exempted be from me the arrogance to choose from forth the royal blood of France, my low and humble name do propagate with any branch or image of thy state. But such a one thy vassal whom I know is free for me to ask, thee to bestow.
Here's my hand. The premises observed, thy will by my performance shall be served. So make the choice of thine own time, for I, thy resolved patient, on thee still rely. More should I question thee, and more I must, though more to know could not be more to trust. From whence thou camest, how tended on, but rest unquestioned welcome and undoubted blessed. Give me some help here, ho! If thou proceed as high as word, my deed shall match thy deed.
And they exit. Act 2, Scene 2. Enter the Countess and the Clown.
Come on, sir. I shall now put you to the height of your breeding.
Oh, I will show myself highly fed and lowly taught. I know my business is but to the court.
To the court. Why, what place make you special when you put off that with such contempt, but to the court?
Ah, truly, madam, if God have lent a man any manners, he may easily put it off at court. He that cannot make a leg, put off's cap, kiss his hand, and say nothing, has neither leg, hands, lip, nor cap, and indeed such a fellow, to say precisely, were not for the court, but for me, I have an answer will serve all men.
Mary, that's a bountiful answer that fits all questions.
Oh, it is like a barber's chair that fits all buttocks. The pin buttock, the quatch buttock, the brawn buttock, or any buttock.
Will your answer, sir, fit to all questions?
As fit as 10 groats is for the hand of an attorney, as your French crown for your taffety punk, as Tibbs rush for a Tom's forefinger, as a pancake for Shrove Tuesday, a Morris for May Day, as the nail in his hole, the cuckold to his horn, and a scolding queen to a wrangling knave, as the nun's lip to the friar's mouth, nay, as the pudding to his skin.
Have you, I say, an answer of such fitness for all questions?
From below your duke to beneath your constable, it will fit any question.
It must be an answer of most monstrous size that must fit all demands.
Ah, but a trifle, neither in good faith, if the learned should speak truth of it. Here it is, and all that belongs to it. Ask me if I am a courtier, and it shall do you no harm to learn.
To be young again, if we could. I will be a fool in question, hoping to be the wiser by your answer. Oh, I pray you, sir, are you a courtier?
Oh, Lord, sir. There's a simple putting off. More, 100 of them.
Sir, I am a poor friend of yours that loves you.
Oh, Lord, sir. Thick, spare not me.
I think, sir, you can eat none of this homely meat.
Oh, Lord, sir. Nay, put me to it, I warrant you.
You were lately whipped, sir, as I think.
Oh, Lord, sir, spare not me.
Do you cry, oh, Lord, sir, at your whipping, and spare not me? Indeed, your oh Lord, sir, is very sequent to your whipping. You would answer very well to a whipping if you were but bound to it.
I ne'er had worse luck in my life, oh, in my life, in my, oh Lord, sir. I see things may serve long, but not serve ever.
I play the noble housewife for the time, to entertain it so merrily with a fool.
Oh Lord, sir, why there serves well again.
And end, sir, to your business. Give Helen this, and urge her to a present to enter back. Commend me to my kinsman and my son. This is not much.
Not much commendation to them.
Not much employment for you. You understand me?
Oh, most fruitfully. I am there before my legs.
Haste you again.
And the exit. Act 2, Scene 3. Enter the Count, the Few, and Parole.
They say miracles are past, and we have our philosophical persons to make modern and familiar things supernatural and causeless. Hence it is that we make trifles of terrors, ensconcing ourselves into seeming knowledge when we should submit ourselves to an unknown fear.
Why, 'tis the rarest argument of wonder that hath shot out in our latter times.
And 'tis so.
To be relinquished of the artists.
So I say, both of Galen and Paracelsus.
Of all the learned and authentic fellows.
Right, so I say.
That gave him out incurable.
Why, there 'tis. So say I too.
Not to be helped.
Right, as 'twere a man assured of a
uncertain life and sure death.
Just, you say well. So would I have said.
I may truly say it is a novelty to the world.
It is indeed, if you will have it in showing. You shall read it in, what do you call ye there?
A showing of a heavenly effect in an earthly actor.
That's it. I would have said the very same.
Oh, why, your dauphin is not lustier. For me, I speak in respects.
Nay, 'tis strange, 'tis very strange. That is the brief and the tedious of it. And he's of a most fascinarious spirit that will not acknowledge it to be the
very hand of heaven.
Aye, so I say.
In a most weak
and debile minister, great power, great transcendence, which should indeed give us a further use to be made, and then alone the recovery of the king as to be
generally thankful.
I would have said it, you say well. Here comes the king.
Lustique, as the Dutchman says, I'll like a maid the better whilst I have a tooth in my head. Why, he's able to lead her a caranto.
Mordieu Vinegar. Is not this Helen?
For God, I think so.
Oh, call before me all the lords in court. Sit, my preserver, by thy patient side, and with this healthful hand, whose banished sense thou hast repealed, a second time rescue the confirmation of my promised gift, which but attends thy naming. Fair maid, send forth thine eye. This youthful parcel of noble bachelors stand at my bestowing, on or whom both sovereign power and father's voice I have to use. Thy frank election make. Thou hast power to choose, and they none to forsake.
To each of you one fair and virtuous mistress. Fall when love please, marry to each but one.
I'd give a bay kirtle and his furniture. My mouth no more were broken than these boys, and writ as little beard.
Peruse them well. Not one of those but had a noble father.
Gentlemen, heaven hath through me restored the king to health.
We understand,
it.
And thank heaven for you.
Thank heaven.
I am a simple maid, and therein wealthiest that I protest, I am simply a maid. Please it your majesty, I have done already. The blushes in my cheek thus whisper me, we blush that thou shouldst choose, but he refused. Let the white death sit on thy cheek forever. We'll ne'er come there again.
Make choice and see. Who shuns thy love, shuns all his love in me.
Now, Dian, from thy altar do I fly, and to imperial love, that God most high, do my sighs stream. Sir, will you hear my suit?
And granted.
Thanks, sir. All the rest is mute.
I had rather be in this chose than throw Ames ace for my life.
The honor, sir, that flames in your fair eyes, before I speak too threateningly replies. Love, make your fortunes 20 times above her, so that above hers that so wishes, and her humble love.
No better, if you please.
My wish receive, which great love grant, and so I take my leave.
Do all they deny her? And they were sons of mine, I'd have them whipped, or I would send them to the Turk to make eunuchs of.
Be not afraid that I your hand should take. I'll never do you wrong for your own sake. Blessing upon your vows, and in your bed find fairer fortune if you ever wed.
These boys are boys of ice. They'll none have here. Sure, they are bastards to the English. The French ne'er got 'em. You are too young, too happy, and too good to make yourself a son out of my blood.
Fair one, I think not so.
There's one grape yet, and I am sure thy father drunk wine. But if thou be'st not an ass, I am a youth of 14. I have known thee already.
Helena?
I dare not say I take you, but I give me and my service ever whilst I live into your guiding power. This is the man.
Why then, young Bertram, take her, she's thy wife.
Wife, my liege, I shall beseech your highness in such a business give me leave to use the help of mine own eyes.
Knowest thou not, Bertram, what she hath done for me?
Yes, my good lord, but never hope to know why I should marry her.
Thou knowest she has raised me from my sickly bed.
But follows it, my lord, to bring me down must answer for your raising. I know her well. She had her breeding at my father's charge. A poor physician's daughter, my wife, disdain rather corrupt me ever.
'Tis only title thou disdainest in her, the which I can build up. Strange it is that our bloods of color, weight, and heat poured all together would quite confound distinction, yet stands off in differences so mighty. If she be all that is virtuous, save what thou dislikest, a poor physician's daughter thou dislikest of virtue for the name. But do not so. From lowest place, whence virtuous things proceed, the place is dignified by the doer's deed. Where great additions swells and virtue none, it is a dropseed honor. Good alone is good without a name. Vileness is so. The property by what it is should go, not by the title. She is young, wise, fair in these, to nature she's immediate heir, and these breed honor. That is honor's scorn, which challenges itself as honor is born, and is not like the sire. Honors thrive when rather from our acts we them derive than our foregoers. The mere words, a slave debauched on every tomb, on every grave. A lying trophy as oft is dumb, where dust and damned oblivion is the tomb of honor's bones, indeed. What should be said? If thou canst like this creature as a maid, I can create the rest. virtue, and she is her own dower, honor and wealth from me.
I cannot love her, nor will strive to do it.
Thou wrongest thyself if thou should strive to choose.
That you are well restored, my lord, I'm glad. Let the rest go.
My honor's at the stake, which to defeat I must produce my power. Here, take her hand. Proud, scornful boy, unworthy this good gift, that does in vile misprison shackle up my love and her desert. That canst not dream we, poisoning us in her defective scale, shall weigh thee to the beam? That wilt not know it is in us to plant thine honor where we please to have it grow. Check thy contempt, obey our will, which travails in thy good. Believe not thy disdain, but presently do thine own fortunes that obedient right, which both thy duty owes and our power claims. Or I will throw thee from my care forever into the staggers and the careless lapse of youth and ignorance. Both my revenge and hate loosing upon thee in the name of justice without all terms of pity. Speak thine answer.
Pardon, my gracious lord, for I submit my fancy to your eyes when I consider what great creation, what dole of honor flies where you bid it. I find that she, which late was in my nobler thoughts most base, is now the praise of the king, who so ennobled is as 'twere born so.
Take her by the hand and tell her she is thine, to whom I promise a counterpoise, if not to thy estate, a balance more replete.
I take her hand.
Good fortune and the favor of the king smile upon this contract, whose ceremony shall seem expedient on the now born brief and be performed tonight. The solemn feast shall more attend upon the coming space, expecting absent friends. As thou lovest her, thy love's to me religious. Else does err.
Do you hear, monsieur? A word with you.
Your pleasure, sir.
Your lord and master did well to make his recantation.
Recantation? My lord? My master?
Aye. Is it not a language I speak?
A most harsh one, and not to be understood without bloody succeeding. My master?
Are you companion to the Count Rousillon?
To any count, to all counts, to what is man?
To what is count's man? Count's master is of another style.
You are too old, sir. Let it satisfy you. You are too old.
I must tell thee, sirrah, I write man, to which title age cannot bring thee.
What I dare too well do, I dare not do.
I did think thee for two ordinaries. To be a pretty wise fellow, thou didst make tolerable vent of thy travel, and it might pass. Yet the scarfs and the bannerets about thee did manifoldly dissuade me from believing thee a vessel of too great a burthen. I have now found thee. When I lose thee again, I care not. Yet art thou good for nothing but taking up, and now that thou art scarce worth.
Hadst thou not the privilege of antiquity upon thee?
Oh, do not plunge thyself too far in anger, lest thou hasten thy trial, which if Lord have mercy on thee for a hen, so my good window of lettuce fare thee well, thy casement I need not open, for I look through thee. Give me thy hand.
My lord, you give me most egregious indignity.
Aye, with all my heart, and thou art worthy of it.
I have not, my lord, deserved it.
Yes, good faith, every dram of it, and I will not bate thee a scruple.
Well, I shall be wiser.
Even as soon as thou canst, for thou hast to pull at a smack at the contrary. If ever thou beest bound in thy scarf and beaten, thou shalt find what it is to be proud of thy bondage. I have a desire to hold my acquaintance with thee, or rather my knowledge, that I may say in the default, he is a man I know.
My lord, you do me the most insupportable vexation.
I would it were hell pains for thy sake, and my poor doing eternal. For doing I am past, as I will by thee, in what motion age will give me leave.
Well, thou hast a son shall take this disgrace off me. Scurvy, old, filthy, scurvy lord. Well, I must be patient. There is no fettering of authority. I'll beat him by my life if I can meet him with any convenience, and he were double and double a lord. I'll have no more pity of his age than I would have of... I'll beat him, and if I could but meet him again.
Sarah, your lord and master's married. There's news for you. You have a new mistress.
I must unfeignedly beseech your lordship to make some reservation of your wrongs. He is my good lord, whom I serve above is my master.
Oh, God?
Aye, sir.
Oh, the devil it is, that's thy master. Why dost thou garter up thy arms this fashion? Dost make holes of thy sleeves? Do other servants so? Thou wert best set thy lower part where thy nose stands. By mine honor, if I were but 2 hours younger, I'd beat thee. Methinks thou art a general offense, and every man should beat thee. I think thou wast created for men to breed themselves upon thee.
Rolls, you're muted.
Go to, sir. You were beaten in Italy for picking a kernel out of a pomegranate. You are a vagabond and no true traveler. You are more saucy with lords and honorable personages than the commission of your birth and virtue gives you heraldry. You are not worth another word, else I'd call you knave. I leave you.
Count Roussillon enters. Parolles, you're muted. Asher, you're muted. Asher, you're muted.
Good, very good. It is so then, good, very good. Let it be concealed a while.
Undone and forfeited to cares forever.
What's the matter, sweetheart?
Although before the solemnness priest I've sworn, I will not bed her.
What? What, sweetheart?
Oh, my paroles, they have married me. I'll to the Tuscan wars, I never bed her.
France is a dog hole, and it no more merits the tread of a man's foot. To the wars!
There's letters from my mother. What the import is, I know not yet.
That would be known. To the wars, my boy, to the wars. He wears his honor in a box unseen that hugs his kicky-wicky here at home, spending his manly marrow in her arms, which should sustain the bound and high curvet of Mars's fiery steed. To other regions, France is a stable. We that dwell in it jades, therefore, to the war.
It shall be so. I'll send her to my house, acquaint my mother with my hate to her, and wherefore I am fled. Write to the king that which I durst not speak. His present gift shall furnish me to lose to those Italian fields, where noble fellows strike. Wars is no strife to the dark house and the detested wife.
Will this capriccio hold in thee, art sure?
Go with me to my chamber and advise me. I'll send her straight away tomorrow to the wars. She to her single sorrow.
Why, these balls bound, and there's noise in it. 'Tis hard a young married man is a man that's marred. Therefore away and leave her bravely. Go. The king has done you wrong, but hush, 'tis so.
And they exit. Act 2, Scene 4. Helena and the clown enter.
My mother greets me kindly. Is she well?
Well, she is not well, but yet she has her health. She's very merry, but yet she is not well. But thanks be given, she's very well and wants nothing in the world, but yet she is not well.
If she be very well, what does she ail that she's not very well?
Truly, she's very well indeed, but for 2 things.
What 2 things?
One, that she's not in heaven, whither God sent her quickly, and the other, that she's in earth, from whence God sent her quickly.
Bless you, my fortunate lady.
I hope, sir, I have your good will to have mine own good fortune.
You had my prayers to lead them on, and to keep them on, have them still. Oh, my knave, how does my old lady?
So that you had her wrinkles and I her money, I would she did as you say.
Why, I say nothing.
Marry, you are the wiser man. For many a man's tongue shakes out his master's undoing. To say nothing, to do nothing, to know nothing, and to have nothing is to be a great part of your title, which is within a very little of nothing.
Away, thou art a knave.
You should have said, sir, before a knave thou art a knave. That's before me thou art a knave. This had been truth, sir.
Go to, thou art a witty fool. I have found thee.
Did you find me in yourself, sir, or were you taught to find me? The search, sir, was profitable, and much fool may you find in you, even to the world's pleasure and the increase of laughter.
Good knave, faith, and well fed. Madam, my lord will go away tonight. A very serious business calls on him. The great prerogative and right of love, which as your due time claims, he does acknowledge, but puts it off to a compelled restraint, whose want and whose delay is strewed with sweets, which they distill now in the curbed time, to make the coming hour o'erflow with joy and pleasure drown the brim.
What's his will else?
That you will take your instant leave of the king, and make this haste as your own good proceeding, strengthened with what apology you think may make it probable indeed.
What more commands he?
That having this obtained, you presently attend his further pleasure.
In everything I wait upon his will.
I shall report it so.
I pray you come, sirrah.
Act 2, Scene 5. Enter Lefeu and Bertram.
But I hope your lordship thinks not him a soldier.
Yes, my lord, and of very valiant a proof.
You have it from his own deliverance.
And by other warranted testimony.
Then my dial goes not true. I took this lark for a bunting.
I do assure you, my lord, he is very great in knowledge and accordingly valiant.
I have then sinned against his experience and transgressed against his valor, and my state that way is dangerous, since I cannot yet find in my heart to repent. Well, here he comes. I pray you, make us friends. I will pursue the amity.
These things shall be done, sir.
Pray you, sir, who's his tailor?
Sir?
I know him well. Aye, sir. He serves a good workman, a very good tailor.
Is she gone to the king?
She is.
Will she away tonight?
As you'll have her.
I've written my letters, casketed my treasure, given order for our horses, and tonight, when I shall take possession of the bride, and ere I do begin,
A good traveler is something at the latter end of a dinner, but on that lies 3/3, and uses a known truth to pass 1,000 nothings with, should be once hard and thrice beaten. God save you, Captain.
Is there any unkindness between my lord and you, monsieur?
I know not how I have deserved to run into my lord's displeasure.
Well, you have made shift to run into it, boots and spurs and all, like him that leapt into the custard, and out of it you'll run again, rather than suffer question for your residence.
It may be you have mistaken him, my lord.
And shall do so ever, though I took him at his prayers. Fare you well, my lord, and believe this of me, there can be no kernel in this light nut. The soul of this man is his clothes. Trust him not in matter of heavy consequence. I have kept of them tame and know their natures. Farewell, monsieur. I have spoken better of you than you have or will to deserve at my hand. But we must do good against evil.
An idle lord, I swear.
I think so.
Why, do you not know him?
Yes, I do know him well, and common speech gives him a worthy pass. Oh, here comes my clog.
I have, sir, as I was commanded from you, spoke with the king, and have procured his leave for present parting. Only he desires some private speech with you.
I shall obey his will. You must not marvel, Helen, at my course, which holds not color with the time, nor does the ministration required office on my particular. Prepared I was not for such a business, therefore am I found so much unsettled. This drives me to entreat you that presently you take your way for home, and rather muse than ask why I entreat you, for my respects are better than they seem, and my appointments have in them a need greater than shows itself at the first view to you that know them not. This to my mother. 'Twill be 2 days ere I shall see you, so I leave you to your wisdom.
Sir, I can nothing say, but that I am your most obedient servant.
Come, no more of that.
And ever shall with true observance seek to eke out that wherein toward me my homely stars have failed to equal my great fortune.
Let that go, my haste is very great. Farewell, hie home.
Pray, sir, your pardon.
Well, what would you say?
I am not worthy of the wealth I owe, nor dare I say 'tis mine, and yet it is but like a timorous thief most fain would steal what law does vouch mine own.
What would you have?
Something, and scarce so much. Nothing indeed, I would not tell you what I would, my lord. Faith, yes, strangers and foes do sunder, and not kiss.
I pray you stay not, but in haste to horse.
I shall not break your bidding, good my lord. Where are my other men? Monsieur, farewell.
Go thou towards home, where I will never come while seeing shake my sword or hear the drum. Away and for our flight.
Brave thee, coraggio.
Act 4, Scene 1, flourish of trumpets, and the Duke of Florence enters, the 2 Frenchmen, and a troop of soldiers. So, that from point to point, now have you heard the fundamental reasons of this war? With great decision hath much blood let forth, and more thirsts after.
Sorry, Act 3, not Scene 4. Wait,
Oh, sorry, Act 3.
Continue.
I'm sorry, what page are we on?
62.
Oh, yes, I see. Holy seems the quarrel upon your grace's part, black and fearful on the opposer.
Therefore we marvel much our cousin France would in so just a business shut his bosom against our borrowing prayers.
Good my lord, the reasons of our state I cannot yield, but like a common and outward man that the great figure of a council frames, by self-unable motion therefore dare not say what I think of it, since I have found myself in my uncertain grounds to fail as often as I guessed.
Be it his pleasure.
But I am sure the younger of our nature that surfeit on their ease will day by day come here for physic.
Welcome shall they be, and all the honours that can fly from us shall on them settle. You know your places well. When better fall, for your avails they fell tomorrow to the field. Act 3, Scene 2. Enter the Countess and the Clown.
It hath happened all as I would have had it, save that he comes not along with her.
By my troth, I take my young lord to be a very melancholy man.
By what observance have you?
Why, he will look upon his boots and sing, mend the ruff and sing, ask questions and sing, pick his teeth and sing. I know a man that had this trick of melancholy hold a goodly manner for a song.
Okay. Sorry, just hopped around. What page is this again, please?
60, bottom of 63.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know why it hopped around. Okay, I'm sorry.
Very last line of the page.
63. I'm so sorry. Okay, I'm almost there. But let me see what he writes and what he means to come, when he means to come.
I have no mind to Isbel since I was at court. Our old lings and our Isbels of the country are nothing like your old ling and your Isbels at the court. The brains of my Cupid's knocked out, and I begin to love as an old man loves money with no stomach.
What have we here?
And that you have there.
I have sent you a daughter-in-law. She hath recovered the king and undone me. I have wedded her, not bedded her, and sworn to make the not eternal. You shall hear I am run away. Know it before the report come. If there be breadth enough in the world, I will hold a long distance. My duty to you, your unfortunate son, Bertram. This is not well. Rash and unbridled boy, to fly the favors of so good a king, to pluck his indignation on thy head, by the misprizing of a maid too virtuous for the contempt of empire.
Oh, madam, yonder is heavy news within between two soldiers and my young lady.
What is the matter?
Nay, there is some comfort in the news, some comfort your son will not be killed so soon as I thought he would.
Why should he be killed?
So say I, madam. If he runs away, as I hear he does, the danger is in standing to it. That's the loss of men, though it be the getting of children. Here they come will tell you more. For my part, I only hear your son was run away.
Save you,
good madam.
Madam, my lord is gone, forever gone.
Do not say so.
Think upon patience. Pray you, gentlemen, I have felt so many quirks of joy and grief that the first face of neither on the start can woman me to it. Where is my son, I pray you?
Madam, he's gone to serve the Duke of Florence. We met him thitherward, for thence we came, and after some dispatch in hand at court, thither we bend again.
Look on his letter, madam. Here's my passport. When thou canst get the ring upon my finger, which never shall come off, and show me a child begotten of thy body that I am father of, then call me husband. But in such a then, I write a never. This is a dreadful sentence.
Brought you this letter, gentlemen?
Aye, madam, and for the content's sake are sorry for our pains.
I prithee, lady, have a better cheer. If thou engrossest, all the griefs are mine. All the griefs are thine. Thou robbest me of a moiety. He was my son, but I do wash his name out of my blood, and thou art all my child. Toward Florence is he?
Aye, madam.
And to be a soldier?
Such is his noble purpose, and believe it the Duke will lay upon him all the honor that good convenience claims.
Return you thither.
Aye, madam, with
Aye,
the
madam,
swiftest swing
with
of
the
speed.
swiftest swing of speed.
Till I have no wife, I have nothing in France. 'Tis bitter.
Find you that there?
Aye, madam.
'Tis but the boldness of his hand, haply, which his heart was not consenting to.
Nothing in France until he have no wife. There's nothing here that is too good for him, but only she, and she deserves a lord that 20 such rude boys might tend upon and call her hourly mistress. Who was with him?
A servant only, and a gentleman, which I have sometime known.
Parole was it not?
Aye, my good lady, he.
A very tainted fellow, and full of wickedness. My son corrupts a well-derived nature with his inducement.
Indeed, good lady, the fellow has a deal of that, too much, which holds him much to have.
You're welcome, gentlemen. I will entreat you, when you see my son, to tell him that his sword can never win the honor that he loses. More, I'll entreat you, written to bear along.
We serve you, madam, in that and all your worthiest affairs.
Not so, but as we change our courtesies, will you draw near?
Till I have no wife, I have nothing in France. Nothing in France until he has no wife. Thou shalt have none, Rousillon, none in France. Then hast thou all again. Poor lord, is I that chase thee from thy country, and expose those tender limbs of thine to the event of the none-sparing war? And is it I that drive thee from the sportive court, where thou wast shot at with fair eye to be the mark of smoky muskets? Oh, you laden messengers that ride upon the violent speed of fire, fly with false aim, move the still peering air that sings with piercing, do not touch my lord. Whoever shoots at him, I set him there. Whoever charges on his forward breast, I am the caitiff that do hold him to it. And although I kill him not, I am the cause. His death was so effected. Better 'twere I met the ravine raven lion when he roared with sharp constraint of hunger. Better 'twere that all the miseries which nature owes were mine at once. No, come thou home, Rousillon, whence honor but of danger wins a scar, as oft it loses all. I will be gone. My being here it is that holds thee hence. Shall I stay here to do it? No, no. Although the air of paradise did fan the house and angels officed all, I will be gone. That pitiful rumor may report my flight to consolidate thine ear. Come night and day. For with the dark, poor thief, I'll steal away.
Act 3, Scene 3. Flourish of trumpets. Enter the Duke of Florence, Rousillon, drums and trumpets, soldiers and paroles. The general of our horse thou art, and we, great in our hope, lay our best love and credence upon thy promising fortune.
Sir, it is a charge too heavy for my strength, but yet will strive to bear it for your worthy sake to the extreme edge of hazard.
Then go thou forth, and fortune play upon thy prosperous helm as thy auspicious mistress.
This very day, great Mars, I put myself into thy file. Make me but like my thoughts, and I shall prove a lover of thy drum, hater of love.
And all exit. Act 3, Scene 4, the Countess and the Skewered enter.
Alas, and would you take the letter of her? Might you not know she would do as she has done by sending me a letter? Read it again.
I am St. Jacques Pilgrim. Thither gone, ambitious love hath so in me offended that barefoot plod I the cold ground upon, with sainted vow my faults to have amended. Right that from the bloody course of war, my dearest master, your dear son, may high bless him at home in peace. Whilst I from far his name with zealous fervor sanctify, his taken labors bid him me forgive. I, his despiteful Juno, sent him forth from courtly friends, with camping foes to live where death and danger dogs the heels of worth. He is too good and fair for death, and me, whom I myself embrace, to set him free.
What?
I think that's your line.
I think that's me too. Wow, what sharp stings are in her mildest words. Rinaldo, you did never lack advice so much as letting her pass so. Had I spoke with her, I could have well diverted her intents, which thus she hath prevented.
Pardon me, madam. If I had given you this at overnight, she might have been o'erta'en, and yet she writes pursuit would be but vain.
What angel shall bless this unworthy husband? He cannot thrive unless her prayers, whom heaven delights to hear and loves to grant, reprieve him from the wrath of greatest justice. Right, Rinaldo, to this unworthy husband of his wife, let every word weigh heavy of her worth, that he does weigh too light. My greatest grief, though little he do feel it, set down sharply. Dispatch the most convenient messenger. When haply he shall hear that she is gone, he will return. And hope I may that she, hearing so much, will speed her foot again, led hither by pure love. Which of them both is dearest to me? I have no skill in sense to make distinction. Provide this messenger. My heart is heavy, and my age is weak. Grief would have tears, and sorrow bids me speak.
And they exit. Scene
Nay.
At 3, scene 5. A tucket afar off, an old widow of Florence enters, with her daughter Violenta and Mariana with other citizens.
They come, for if they do approach the city, we shall lose all the sight. Diana, are you coming?
Kate?
Diana? Diana?
You know what? It's
Sorry.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, sorry.
Page
Diana?
72.
Come, we'll lose sight.
Sorry, would
Diana?
you mind just would you mind telling me the act scene?
It's page 72, Act 3, Scene 5. You want to take it from the top again, Jackie?
Sure. They come, for if they do approach the city, we shall lose all the sight.
You know,
Bottom of 72.
It's okay. I know what it's like on the PDF. Yeah.
yeah, sorry, I'm looking at Gutenberg.
Act 3, Scene 5.
Got it.
They say the French Countess
It's
done.
my fault because I told you the second half and we're taking intermission a little later than I was thinking. It's my fault.
Got it. Got it.
Here again, please, Jackie.
Okay. They come, for if they do approach the city, we shall lose all the sight.
They say the French Count has done the most honorable service.
It is reported that he has taken their greatest commander, and that with his own hand he slew the Duke's brother. Oh, we have lost our labor. They have gone a contrary way. Ah, you may know by their trumpets.
Let's return again and suffice ourselves with a report of it. Well, Diana, take heed of this French earl. The honour of a maid is her name, and no legacy is so rich as honesty.
I have told my neighbor how you have been solicited by a gentleman, his companion.
Oh, I know that knave, hang him. One parolers, a filthy officer he is in those suggestions for the young earl. Beware of them, Diana, their promises, enticements, oaths, tokens, and all these engines of lust are not the things they go under. Many a maid has been seduced by them, and the misery is example. So terrible shows in the rack of maidenhood cannot for all that dissuade succession, but they are limed with the twigs that threatens them. Oh, I hope I need not to advise you further, but I hope your own grace will keep you where you are, although there were no further danger known, but the modesty which is so lost.
You shall not need to fear me.
I hope so. Oh, look, here comes a pilgrim. I know she will lie at my house. Thither they send one another. I'll question her. God save you, pilgrim. Whither are you bound?
To St. Jacques le Grand. Where do the Palmers lodge, I do beseech you?
At the St. Francis, here beside the port.
Is this the way?
I marry it is. Hark you, they come this way. If you will tarry, holy pilgrim, oh, but all the troops come by, I will conduct you where you shall be lodged, the rather, for I think I know your host is as ample as myself.
Is it yourself?
You shall please so, pilgrim.
I thank you, and will stay upon your leisure.
You came, I think, from France.
I did so.
Here you shall see a countryman of yours that has done worthy service.
His name, I pray you?
The Count Roussillon, know you such a one?
Not by the ear that hears most nobly of him. His face I know not.
Whatsoever he is, he's bravely taken here. He stole from France, as 'tis reported, for the king had married him against his liking. Think you it is so?
I surely mere the truth. I know his lady.
There is a gentleman that serves the count, reports but coarsely of her.
What's his name?
Monsieur Paroles.
Oh, I believe with him. In argument of praise or to the worth of the great count himself, she is too mean to have her name repeated. All her deserving is a reserved honesty, and that I have not heard examined.
Alas, poor lady, 'tis a hard bondage to become the wife of a detesting lord.
I write good character, wheresoever she is. Her heart weighs sadly. This young maid might do her shrewd turn if she pleased.
How do you mean? Maybe the amorous count solicits her in the unlawful purpose?
He does indeed, and brokes with all that can in such a suit corrupt the tender honor of a maid. But she is armed for him and keeps her guard in honest defense.
German colors, enter Count Roussillon, Paroles, and the whole army. Glad we've got a big stage.
So now they come. That is Antonio, the Duke's eldest son, that Escalus.
Which is the Frenchman?
Oh, he. That with the plume. 'Tis he.
That was, oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
I think I'm in a different version.
No, it's your.
It's you, Diana. It's you, Kate.
He, that was the plume. 'Tis a most gallant fellow. I would he loved his wife. If he were honester, he were much goodlier. Is not a handsome gentleman?
I like him well.
'Tis pity that he is not honest. Yon's that same knave that leads him to these places. Were I his lady, I would poison that vile rascal.
Which is he?
That jack and apes with scarfs. Why is he melancholy?
Perchance he's heard of the battle.
Lose our drum. Well.
'Tis shrewdly vexed at something. Oh, look, he spied us.
Marry, hang you!
And your curtsy for a ring carrier.
The troop is past. Come, pilgrim, I will bring you where you shall host. Of enjoined penitents there 4 or 5, to great St. Jacques bound, already at my house.
I humbly thank you. Please it this matron and this gentle maid to eat with us tonight. The charge and thanking shall be from me, and to requite you further, I will bestow some precepts of this virgin worthy the note.
We'll take your offer kindly.
And they exit. Act 3, Scene 6. The Count Roussillon and the 2 French captains.
Hey, good, my lord. Put him to it. Let him have his way.
Sorry, I have to find the
78.
78. Okay. Just give me a moment, please. Or somebody read for me till I get there.
Okay, if your lordship find him not in a hilding, hold me no more in your respect.
On my life, my lord, a bubble.
Do you think I am so far deceived in him?
Believe it, my lord. In mine own direct knowledge, without any malice, but to speak of him as my kinsman, he is a most notable coward, an infinite and endless liar, an hourly promise baker, the owner of no one good quality worthy of your lordship's entertainment.
It were fit you knew him, lest reposing too far in his virtue, which he hath not, he might at some great and trusty business and a main danger fail you.
I would I knew in what particular action to try him.
None better than to let him fetch off his drum, which you hear him so confidently undertake to do.
I, with a troop of Florentines, will suddenly surprise him. Surely I will have, whom I am sure he knows not from the enemy. We will bind and hoodwink him so that he shall suppose no other but that he is carried into the league of the adversaries when we bring him to our own tents. Be but your lordship present at his examination. If he do not, for the promise of his life, and in the highest compulsion of base fear, offer to betray you and deliver all the intelligence in his power against you, and that with the divine forfeit of his soul upon earth, never trust my judgment in anything.
Oh, for the love of laughter, let him fetch his drum. He says he has a stratagem for it. When your lordship sees the bottom of this success ins, and to what metal this counterfeit lump of ours will be melted if you give him not John Drum's entertainment, your inclining cannot be removed. Here he comes.
Oh, for the love of laughter, hinder not the honor of his design. Let him fetch off his drum in any hand.
How now, monsieur, this drum sticks sorely in your disposition.
A poxont, let it go. 'Tis but a drum.
But a drum? Is but a drum? A drum so lost. There was excellent command to charge in with our horse upon our own wings, and to rend our own soldiers.
That was not to be blamed in the command of the service. It was a disaster of war that Caesar himself could not have prevented if he had been there to command.
Well, we cannot greatly commend our success. Some dishonor we had in the loss of the drum, but it is not to be recovered.
It might have been recovered.
It might, but it is not now.
It is to be recovered, but that the merit of service is seldom attributed to the true and exact performer. I would have that drum or another, or hic jacet.
Why, if you have a stomach to it, monsieur, if you think your mystery and stratagem can bring this instrument of honor again into this native quarter, be magnanimous in the enterprise and go on. I will grace the attempt for a worthy exploit. If you speed well on it, the Duke shall both speak of it and extend to you what further becomes his greatness, even to the utmost syllable of your worthiness.
By the hand of a soldier, I will undertake it.
But you must not now slumber in it.
I'll about it this evening, and I will presently pen down my dilemmas, encourage myself in my certainty, put myself into my moral preparation, and by midnight, look to hear further from me.
May I be bold to acquaint his grace you are gone about it?
I know not what the success will be, my lord, but the attempt I vow.
I know thou art valiant, and to the possibility of thy soldiership, I will subscribe for thee. Farewell.
I love not many words.
No more than a fish loves water. Is not this a strange fellow, my lord, that so confidently seems to undertake this business which he knows is not to be done, damns himself to do so, and dares better be damned than to do it?
You do not know him, my lord, as we do. Certain it is that he will steel himself into a man's favor, and for a week escape a great deal of discoveries. But when you find him out, you have him ever after.
Why, do you think he will make no deed of it, of this, that so seriously he does address himself onto?
None in the world but return with an invention, and clap upon you 2 or 3 probable lies. But we have almost embossed him. You shall see his fall tonight, for indeed he is not for your lordship's respect.
We'll make you some sport with the fox ere we case him. He was first smoked by the old Lord Lafew in his disguise, and he is parted. Tell me what a sprat you shall find him, which which you shall see this very night.
I must go look my twigs. He shall be caught.
Your brother shall go along with me.
As to please your lordship, I'll leave you.
Now will I lead you to the house and show you the lass I spoke of.
But you say she's honest?
That's all the fault. I spoke with her but once and found her wondrous cold. But I sent to her by the same coxcomb that we have in the wind, tokens and letters which she did resend. And this is all I have done. She's a fair creature. Will you go see her?
With all my heart, my lord.
And they exit. Act 3, Scene 7. Helen and the widow enter.
If you misdoubt me that I am not she, I know not how I shall assure you further, but I shall lose the grounds I work upon.
Though my estate be fallen, I was well born, nothing acquainted with these businesses, and would not put my reputation now in any straining act.
Nor would I wish you. First, give me trust. The Count, he is my husband, and what to your sworn counsel I have spoken is so from word to word. And then you cannot, by the good aid that I of you shall borrow, err in bestowing it.
I should believe you, for you have showed me that which well approves your great fortune.
Take this purse of gold, and let me buy your friendly help thus far, which I will overpay and pay again when I have found it. The Count, he woos your daughter, lays down his wanton siege before her beauty, resolved to carry her. Let her in fine consent, as will direct her how 'tis best to bear it. Now his important blood will not deny that she'll demand a ring the Count wears, that downward hath succeeded in his house from son to son, some 4 or 5 descents, since the first father wore it. This ring he holds in most rich choice, yet in his idle fire to buy his will, it would not seem too dear, howe'er repented after.
Now I see the bottom of your purpose.
You see it lawful then, it is no more, but that your daughter, ere she seems as one, desires this ring, appoints him an encounter, in fine delivers me to fill the time, herself most chastely absent. After, to marry her, I'll add 3,000 crowns to what is paid already.
I have yielded. Instruct my daughter how she shall persevere, that time and place with this deceit so lawful may prove coherent. Every night he comes with music of all sorts and songs composed to her unworthiness. It nothing steeds us to chide him from our eaves, for he persists as if his life lay on it.
Why then tonight let us essay our plot, which if it speed, is wicked meaning in a lawful deed, and lawful meaning in a lawful act, where both not sin and yet a sinful fact. But let's not about it.
Is that the break?
Yes, all right, everybody.
Good.
Very good.
Yeah, so how long, like 5 minutes or?
5, 7 minutes, 5. Yeah, we're 60% through the play.
Yeah.
We've gone 2 hours. So.
Ken, could you do me a favor? Could you wipe your, it looks like you wiped your camera lens. Have you?
Yes, I just did.
Good,
Yes,
good.
thanks.
We now see, we were seeing you through a glass darkly.
I'm glad it's better now.
Oh, it's much better.
Yeah, it is better. It is. Yeah.
It's cleared up.
Yeah, this is good job. This is such an interesting play, and I guess it is sort of one of the ones that's kind of classified like Measure for Measure as like one of the problem plays.
Yeah, the four problem plays, right?
Yeah,
I've never seen it.
Romances. You've never seen it?
I've never seen it. My wife saw it with Judy Dench playing the Countess.
Oh, wow.
Years ago when she was studying at RADA, but no, I've never seen it.
I saw it. They did it about 16 years ago. Wow, time flies. 15 years ago. Theater for the New Audience. They're very good. And they updated it to modern times. It was on 42nd Street. And I saw it before that at Stratford, Ontario with Martha Henry, my favorite actress of all time. She played Helena. That was many years ago. You know what? I'll say one more thing and I promise I'll shut up for now. Stratford, Ontario. the Canadian National Theatre, they chose to do this in 1953, their first season ever. Amelia Hall was so young then, and William Hutt, he played King of France when I saw in 1980s. But anyway, I think he was in it. But Tyrone Guthrie directed it, and they also did Richard III, starring Alec Guinness, and it was so not done. I mean, people had forgotten this play really existed. The Victorians hated it because those 4 problem plays were about truth, and it's kind of called cynical realism because Shakespeare had been around the block, and they really hated the truth about sex and hypocrisy and things, and they just never did it. So they revived it for the first time in centuries at Stratford in the 50s, and it is done a little more now. It is done a little more because it fits the times now, this play.
Yeah, no, I think it does. And I think one of the things that you see about it in performance, which is interesting, is that with the 2 French lords, that in performance, I mean, they're the brothers Dumaine, and how much you in an actual production, you can see them like just always sort of playing off each other and being together. And sometimes you can create like the moment where at the end where like Bertram's like, oh wait, you come with me and then you go, that it was like the first time that the brothers had to split, and it sort of becomes this big emotional thing like, oh wow, we're actually going off in different places.
The nomenclature, certainly in this pocket edition, is so confusing as to whether they're lords or gentlemen or French, or sometimes they have a letter under their name, sometimes they don't, sometimes they're one. Sometimes they're
you
not.
guys are doing so admirably,
confusing.
jumping in, yeah.
This is true, and I'm sorry, but that is what we get from the first folio.
Right.
No, definitely, I'm sure would be much clearer in performance.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and what I had forgotten about with this play is so cool. He got the plot from one of the tales of the Decameron by Boccaccio. I think that was written in the 1300s, right? During the time of the plague. So anyway, it's the third of the tales, and the tale is called Gerard de Narbonne, who was the dead father of Helena, the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
He only made up one plot of all his plays, to my knowledge, and that's Love's Labour's Lost. I think I read that somewhere. I believe that's true. He probably stole bits of that from other people too.
Yeah, well, a lot of that had a lot of sort of contemporary references, which makes it a difficult one for us to appreciate all of the various sorts of in-jokes, because that's the other sort of thing with these. You have jokes that can work on a lot of different levels, and also in performance, you can get like a lot more the physical humor of the clowns is something that's, and a lot of these jokes that it's like, wow, I gotta look up my
but the clown in this one is so sophisticated. Well, they all are.
Yeah, because this was after like Will Kemp had left, and then Robert Armin was the clown, and so
after Will Kemp was the first one, right?
Yeah, who was a much sort of broader clown,
right?
And like Bottom and things like that, and then you had Armin, who's like also Feste in Twelfth Night, and so there's a lot of singing, and it's also interesting when we talk about like Bertram singing a lot, or I mean that I say this thing about him singing, and then the other that there's references of him singing to the.
They want to make use of the guy the young ingenue guy it's a guy had a great voice. Oh yeah, okay, I didn't really
So many rhymed couplets in this play.
You're right.
The dialogue just goes into rhymed couplets so much.
Yeah, especially that scene. And I think it's because also there's kind of, in a way, I mean, because a lot of the rhyme couplets he uses a lot earlier in his career, and in things like in Midsummer, where there's sort of like a magical feel to it. And I think in some ways it's kind of sort of to give a magical sort of incantation of the way that she's able to use this medicine to cure him. And it's also sort of like there's so many more resonances for these plays nowadays, which start off talking about death and then illness and people like, oh, there's a cure if you would just be willing to take it,
Right. Well, I forget. I looked it up a few weeks ago and now I bloody forget. A fistula. Isn't that, I know what that is. It's like blood clots.
Yeah.
It's like, right?
Answer?
Isn't it?
Not quite. Fistula is like an unusual like canal between two places that aren't supposed to be connected.
Oh, right.
Ah.
Really?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Virginia, you keep mentioning the Stratford, Ontario Shakespeare Festival.
Yeah.
Well,
It was my mecca for years.
I happened upon a season program for that festival, 1958. And one of the young actors, I found it on a bookshelf, and one of the actors featured for that season was William Shatner.
Yes, that's right. He was.
He got his start doing that sort of stuff.
Right, because
why his
he's
delivery is so
Canadian.
strange.
He was Canadian. Yeah, he was Canadian.
I think that's kind of where that strange delivery of his in Star Trek came from.
Well, it's really great. Just we shouldn't be getting started again, but just to mention, like with William Shatner, he played Lucius in Julius Caesar, and his Brutus was Lauren Green.
Oh yeah!
Really?
Ah! Yeah,
Captain
Bonanza.
Video too, wasn't he? Captain Video on TV many years ago. William Shatner.
Yeah, and then they all decided to go Hollywood and make some bucks. Why not? You know.
I think he was
Get
one
famous.
of those like Star Trek characters. I could be wrong somehow.
And Christopher Plummer was born in Montreal, of very high-born people, governmentally in Canada, and he became their leading man in the 60s and very early 70s.
Yeah.
But he wasn't making movies when he wasn't making movies.
Shatner, like, what have you done with my ship? My crew. He puts those pauses in there.
Yeah, very kind of pseudo-British. That's yeah.
Then they got the real thing with
but he has those
Stewart.
inflections like he's asking a question, like the Canadians always do, you know, and the California guys. Well, maybe we should get started again. Huh? It's been more than 5 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
We get started. All righty. You all are
I'm
doing.
right. I'm right. He was in one of those. You see him in a yellow suit. What was it with that crazy guy? Or what does it say? It doesn't say. He was it a space thing. William Shatner was in a
Star Trek. Yes, Star Trek.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get going for
All right. Well, then let us head. Wait, what's the phrase? To the great frontier, Star Trek. I'm not a Trekkie.
The final frontier.
The final frontier.
Okay, we got two more acts. The final frontier. Here we go. Okay, here we go.
The most famous split infinitive of all time to go boldly where no man could go before. Yeah. Anyway.
All right.
Act 4, Scene 1. Enter one of the Frenchmen with 5 or 6 other soldiers as an ambush.
Can come no other way but by this hedge corner. When you sally upon him, speak what terrible language you will, though you understand it not yourselves, no matter. For we must not seem to understand him, unless someone among us whom we must produce for an interpreter.
Oh, good captain, let me be the interpreter.
Art not acquainted with him? Knows he not thy voice?
No, sir, I warned you.
But what Lindsay Woolsey hast thou to speak to us again?
As such as you speak to me.
Well, he must think us some band of strangers in the adversary's entertainment. Now he hath a smack of all neighboring languages, therefore we must every one be a man of his own fancy, not to know what we speak one to another. So we seem to know is to know straight our purpose. Choff's language, gabble enough and good enough. As for you, interpreter, you must seem very politic. Oh, but Gaucho, here he comes to beguile 2 hours in a sleep, and then to return and swear the lie he forges.
10 o'clock. Within these 3 hours, 'twill be time enough to go home. What shall I say I have done? It must be a very plausive invention that carries it. They begin to smoke me, and disgraces have late knocked too often at my door. I find my tongue too foolhardy, but my heart hath the fear of Mars before it, and of his creatures, and daring the reports of my tongue. Not
This is
daring
the first
reports of my
truth that e'er thine own tongue was guilty of.
What the devil should move me to undertake the recovery of this drum, being not ignorant of the impossibility, and knowing I had no such purpose? I must give myself some hurts, and say I got them in exploit. Yet slight ones will not carry it. They will say, came you off with so little? And great ones I dare not give, Wherefore, what's the instance? Tongue, I must put you into a butter woman's mouth, and buy myself another of Baalzeth's mule, if you prattle me into these perils.
Is it possible he should know what he is, and be that he is?
The cutting of my garments would serve the turn, or the breaking of my Spanish sword.
We cannot afford you so.
Or the baring of my beard, and to say it was in stratagem.
'Twould not do.
Or to drown my clothes, and say I was stripped.
Hardly serve.
Though I swore I leaped from the windows of the citadel.
How deep?
30 fathom.
Ha! 3 great oaths would scarce make that be believed.
I would I had any drum of the enemies. I would swear I recovered it.
You shall hear one anon.
A drum now of the enemies.
Frocca, momussos, cargo, cargo, cargo.
Cargo, cargo, cargo. Vilianda por
Oh, ransom, ransom, do not hide mine eyes.
Oscos Tromuldo Boscos.
I know you are the Muscos regiment, and I shall lose my life for want of language. If there be here German or Dane, Low Dutch, Italian, or French, let him speak to me. I'll discover that which shall undo the Florentine.
Oscos Ovado, I understand thee and can speak thy tongue. Caroli Bontos, betake thee to thy faith, for 17 poniards are at thy bosom.
Oh,
pray, 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 manca revania dulce.
Scorbidulcas valivorco.
The general is content to spare thee yet, and hoodwinked as thou art will lead thee on to gather from thee. Haply thou mayst inform something to save the life.
Oh, let me live, and all the secrets of our camp I'll show, their force, their purposes. Nay, I'll speak that which you will wonder at.
But wilt thou faithfully?
If I do not, damn me.
Accordolinta? Come on, thou art granted space.
Go, tell the Count Rosillon, my brother, we have caught the woodcock, and we'll keep him muffled till we do hear from them.
Captain, I will.
I will betray us unto ourselves. Inform on that.
So I will, sir.
Till then, I'll keep him dark and safely locked.
Act 4, Scene 2. Enter Bertram and the maid called Diana.
They told me that your name was Fontebelle.
No, my good lord. Diana.
Oh, titled goddess, and worth it with addition, but fair soul, in your fine frame hath love no quality of quick fire of youth, light not your mind. You are no maiden, but a monument. When you are dead, you should be such a one as you are now, for you are cold and sten. And now you should be as your mother was when your sweet self was God.
She then was honest.
So should you be.
No, my mother did but duty, such, my lord, as you owe to your wife.
No more of that. I prithee, do not strive against my vows. I was compelled to her, but I love thee. By love's own sweet constraint, for will forever do thee all rights of service.
Aye, so you serve us till we serve you. But when you have our roses, you barely leave our thorns to prick ourselves and mock us with our baseness.
How have I sworn?
'Tis not the many oaths that makes the truth, but the plain single vow that is vowed true. What is not holy that we swear not by, but take the highest to witness. Then, pray you, tell me, if I should swear by Jove's great attributes, I loved you dearly, would you believe my oaths when I did love you ill? This has no holding, to swear by him whom I protest to love, that I will work against him. Therefore, your oaths are words and poor conditions, but unsealed, at least in my opinion.
Change it, be not so wholly cruel. Love is holy, and my integrity ne'er knew the crafts that you do charge men with. Stand no more off, but give thyself unto my sick desires, who then recover. Say thou art mine, and ever my love, as it begins, shall so persevere.
I see that men make hopes in such a case that we'll forsake ourselves. Give me that ring.
I'll lend it thee, my dear, but I have no power to give it from me.
Will you not, my lord?
It is an honor longing to our house, bequeathed down from many ancestors, which were the greatest obloquy in the world in me to lose.
Mine honor is such a ring. My chastity's the jewel of our house, bequeathed down from many ancestors, which were the greatest obloquy in the world in me to lose. Thus, your own proper wisdom brings in the champion honor on my part against your vain assault.
Here, take my ring. My house, mine honor, yea, my life be thine, and I'll be bid by thee.
When midnight comes, knock at my chamber window. I'll order take, my mother shall not hear. Now, will I charge you in the band of truth? When you have conquered my yet maiden bed, remain there but an hour, nor speak to me. My reasons are most strong, and you shall know them when back again this ring shall be delivered. And on your finger in the night, I'll put another ring, in what in time proceeds may token to the future our path see. Adieu till then fail not. You have won a wife of me, though there my hope be done.
Heaven on earth I have won by wooing thee.
For which live long to thank both heaven and me. You may so in the end. My mother told me just how he would woo, as if she sat in's heart. She says all men have the like oaths. He had sworn to marry me when his wife's dead, therefore I'll lie with him when I am buried. Since Frenchmen are so brave, marry that will, I live and die a maid. Only in this disguise, I think no sin to cousin him that would unjustly win.
Act 4, Scene 3. Enter the two French captains and some 2 or 3 soldiers.
You have not given him his mother's letter.
I have delivered it an hour since. There is something in it that stings his nature, for on the reading it, he changed almost into another man.
He has much worthy blame laid upon him for shaking off so good a wife and so sweet a lady.
Especially he hath incurred the everlasting displeasure of the king, who had even tuned his bounty to sing happiness to him. I will tell you a thing, but you shall let it dwell darkly upon you.
When you have spoken it, 'tis dead, and I am the grave of it.
He hath perverted a young gentlewoman here in Florence of a most chaste renown, and this night he fleshes his will in the spoil of her honor. He hath given her his monumental ring, and thinks himself made in the unchaste composition.
Now God delay our rebellion, as we are ourselves. What things are we?
Merely our own traitors. And as in the common course of all treasons, we still see them reveal themselves till they attain to their abhorred ends. So he that in this action contrives against his own nobility in his proper stream o'erflowers himself.
Is not men damnable in us to be trumpeters of our unlawful intents? We shall not then have his company tonight?
Not till after midnight, for he has dieted to his hour.
That approaches apace. I would gladly have him see his company anatomized, that he might take a measure of his own judgments, wherein so curiously he had set this counterfeit.
We will not meddle with him till he come, for his presence must be the whip of the other.
In the meantime, what hear you of these wars?
I hear there is an overture of peace.
Nay, I assure you a peace concluded.
What will Count Roussillon do then? Will he travail higher or return again into France?
I perceive by this demand you are not altogether of his counsel.
Let it be forbid, sir. So should I be a great deal of his act.
Sir, his wife some 2 months since fled from his house. Her pretense is a pilgrimage to St. Jacques-le-Grand, which holy undertaking with most austere sanctimony she accomplished. And there residing, the tenderness of her nature became as a prey to her grief. In fine, made a groan of her last breath, and now she sings in heaven.
How is this justified?
The stronger part of it by her own letters, which makes her story true, even to the point of her death. Her death itself, which could not be her office to say, is come, was faithfully confirmed by the record of the place.
Hath the Count all this intelligence?
Aye, and the particular confirmations point from point to the full arming of the verity.
I am heartily sorry that he'll be glad of this.
How mightily sometimes we make us comforts of our losses.
And how mightily some other times we drown our gain in tears. The great dignity that his valor hath here acquired for him shall at home be encountered with a shame as ample.
The web of our life is of a mingled yarn, good and ill together. Our virtues would be proud if our faults whipped them not, and our crimes would despair if they were not cherished by our virtues. How now? Where's your master?
He met the Duke in the street, sir, of whom he has taken a solemn leave. His lordship will next morning for France. The Duke hath offered him letters of commendations to the king.
They shall be no more than needful there, if they were more than they can commend.
They cannot be too sweet for the king's tartness. Here's his lordship now. How now, my lord? Is it not after midnight?
I have tonight dispatched 16 businesses. A month left the peace by an abstract of success. I have congeed with the Duke, done my adieu with his nearest, buried a wife, mourned her, writ to my lady mother I am returning, entertained my convoy, and between these main parcels of dispatch, effected many nicer needs. The last was the greatest, but I have not ended yet.
If the business be of any difficulty, and this morning your departure hence, it requires haste of your lordship.
I mean, the business is not ended, as fearing to hear of it hereafter. But shall we have this dialogue between the fool and the soldier? Come, bring forth this counterfeit module. He has deceived me like a double-meaning prophesier.
Bring him forth. Has sat in the stocks all night, poor gallant's knave.
No matter, his heels have deserved it in usurping his spurs so long. How does he carry himself?
I have told your lordship already, the stocks carry him. But to answer you as would be understood, he weeps like a wench that had shed her milk. He hath confessed himself to Morgan, whom he supposes to be a friar, from the time of his remembrance to this very instant disaster of his setting in the stocks. And what think you he hath confessed?
Nothing of me, has it?
His concession is taken, and it shall be read to his face. If your lordship be into, as I believe you are, you must have the patience to hear it.
Parolles enters with his interpreter.
A plague upon him, muffled. He can say nothing of me. Hush, hush.
Hoodman comes. Porto Tartarossa. He calls for the torches. What will you say without them?
I will confess what I know without constraint. If you pinch me like a pasty, I can say no more.
Bosco Chimurco.
Babili Bindo, Chikoro Murko.
You are a merciful general. Our general bids you answer to what I shall ask you out of a note.
And truly, as I hope to live.
First, demand of him, how many horse the Duke is strong? What say you to that?
5,000 or 6,000, but very weak and unserviceable. The troops are all scattered, and the commanders very poor rogues upon my reputation and credit, and as I hope to live.
Shall I set down your answer so?
Do. I'll take the sacrament on it. How and which way you will, all's one to him.
What a pass-saving slave is this?
You're deceived, my lord. This is Monsieur Parolles, the gallant militarist. And that was his own phrase that had the whole theoric of war in the knot of his scarf and the practice in the shape of his dagger.
I will never trust a man again for keeping his sword clean, nor believe he can have everything in him by wearing his apparel neatly.
Well, let's sit down.
5,000 or 6,000 horse, I said. I will say true or thereabouts, sit down, for I'll speak truth.
He is very near the truth in this.
But I con him no thanks for it, and the nature he delivers it.
Poor rogues, I pray you say.
Well, let's sit down.
I humbly thank you, sir. A truth's a truth. The rogues are marvelous poor.
Demand of him of what
strength they are afoot. What say you to that?
By my troth, sir, if I were to live this present hour, I will tell true. Let me see. Spurio, 150. Sebastian, so many. Carambus, so many. Jaques, so many. Gultian, Cosmo, Ludovic, and Gratif, 250 each. Mine own company, Christopher Valmont, Bentif, 250 each. So that the muster file, rotten and sound, upon my life amounts not to 15,000 pole, half of the which dare not shake the snow from off their cassocks, lest they shake themselves to pieces.
What shall be done to him?
Nothing but let him have thanks. Demand of him my condition, and what credit I have with the Duke.
Well, if set down, you shall demand of him whether one Captain Dumaine be in the camp, a Frenchman, what his reputation is with the Duke, what his valor, honesty, and expertness in wars, or whether he thinks it were not possible with well-weighing sums of gold to corrupt him to a revolt. What say you to this? What do you know of it?
I beseech you, let me answer to the particular of the interrogatories. Demand them singly.
Do you know Captain Dumaine?
I know him. I was a butcher's apprentice in Paris, from whence he was whipped for getting the Shreve's fool with child, a dumb innocent that could not say him nay.
Nay, by your leave, hold your hands, though I know his brains are forfeit to the next tile that falls.
Well, is this captain in the Duke of Florence's camp?
Upon my knowledge, he is, and lousy.
Nay, look not so upon me. We shall hear of your lord anon. What is his reputation with the Duke?
The Duke knows him for no other but a poor officer of mine, and writ to me this other day to turn him out of the band. I think I have his letter in my pocket.
Marry, we'll search.
In good sadness, I do not know either it is there or it is upon a file with the Duke's other letters in my tent.
Here it is. Here's a paper. Shall I read it to you?
I do not know if it be or no.
Our interpreter does it well.
Excellently. Diane, the Count's a fool and full of gold.
That's not the Duke's letter, sir. That is an advertisement to a proper maid in Florence, one Diana, take heed of the allurement of one Count Rousillon. A foolish idle boy, but for all that very ruttish. I pray you, sir, put it up again.
Nay, I'll read it first by your favor.
My meaning in it, I protest, was very honest in the behalf of the maid. For I knew the young count to be a dangerous and lascivious boy who is a whale to virginity and devours up all the fry it finds.
Damnable both sides rogue.
Let when he swears oaths, bid him drop gold and take it. After he scores, he never pays the score. Half one is match well made, match and well make it. He ne'er pays after debts take it before. And say a soldier, Diane, told thee this: men are to mell with, boys are not to kiss. Account of this, the Count's a fool, I know it, who pays before, but not when he does owe it. Thine is he vow to thee in thine ear, Parolles.
He shall be whipped through the army with this rhyme in his forehead.
This is your devoted friend, sir, the manifold linguist and the omnipotent soldier.
I can endure anything before but a cat, and now he's a cat to me.
I perceive, sir, by your general's looks, we shall be fain to hang you.
My life, sir, in any case. Not that I am afraid to die, but that my offences being many, I would repent out the remainder of nature. Let me live, sir, in a dungeon, in stocks, or anywhere so I may live.
We'll see what may be done, so you confess freely. Therefore, once more to this Captain Dumaine, you have answered to his reputation with the Duke and to his valor. What is his honesty?
He will steal, sir, an egg out of a cloister. For rapes and ravishments, he parallels Nessus. He professes not keeping of oaths. In breaking them, he is stronger than Hercules. He will lie, sir, with such volubility that you would think truth were a fool. Drunkenness is his best virtue, for he will be swine drunk, and in his sleep he does little harm, save to his bedclothes about him, but they know his conditions and lay him in straw. I have but little more to say, sir, of his honesty. He has everything that an honest man should not have. What an honest man should have, he has nothing.
I begin to love him for this.
For this description of thine honesty, a pox upon him for me. He's more and more a cat.
What say you to his expertness in war?
Faith, sir, has led the drum before the English tragedians. To belie him, I will not. And more of his soldiership I know not, except that in that country he had the honor to be the officer at a place there called Mile End, to instruct for the doubling of files. I would do the man what honor I can, but of this I am not certain.
He hath out-villained villainy so far that the rarity redeems him.
Pox on him, he's still a cat.
His qualities being at this poor price, I need not to ask you if gold will corrupt him to revolt.
Sir, for a codsieve he will sell the fee simple of his salvation, the inheritance of it, and cut the entail from all remainders, and a perpetual succession for it perpetually.
What's his brother, the other Captain Dumaine?
Why does he ask him of me?
What's he?
Even a crow in the same nest, not altogether so great as the first in goodness, but greater a great deal in evil. He excels his brother for a coward, yet his brother is reputed to be one of the best there is. In a retreat, he outruns any lackey. Marry, and coming on, he has the cramp.
If your life be saved, will you undertake to betray the Florentine?
I and the captain of his horse, Count Rousillon.
I'll whisper with the general and know his pleasure.
I'll no more drumming. A plague of all drums, only to seem to serve well and to beguile the supposition of that lascivious young boy, the Count, have I run into this danger. Yet who would have suspected an ambush where I was taken?
Oh. There is no remedy, sir, but you must die. The general says you that have so traitorously discovered the secrets of your army and made such pestiferous reports of men very nobly held can serve the world for no honest use. Therefore, you must die. Come.
There's more to your line.
His internet's crashed.
Come, headsman, off with his head.
Oh, Lord, sir, let me live, or let me see my death.
That shall you, and take your leave of all your friends. So, look about you. Know you any here?
Good morrow, noble captain.
God bless you, Captain Parolles.
God save you, noble captain.
Captain, what greeting will you to my Lord Lafew? I am for France.
Good.
Captain, will you give me a copy of the sonnet you writ to Diana in behalf of Count Rousillon? And I were not a very coward, I'd compel it of you. But fare you well.
And he exits.
You are undone, Captain, all but your scarf. That has a knot on't yet.
Who cannot be crushed with a plot?
If you could find out a country where but women were that had received so much shame, you might begin an impudent nation. Fare ye well, sir. I'm for France too. We shall speak of you there.
And the interpreter exits.
Yet am I thankful. If my heart were great, 'twould burst at this. Captain, I'll be no more, but I will eat and drink and sleep as soft as captain shall. Simply the thing I am shall make me live. Who knows himself a braggart, let him fear this. For it will come to pass that every braggart shall be found an ass. Rust sword, cool brushes, and parolees live. Safest in shame, being fooled by foolery thrive. There's place and means for every man alive. I'll after them.
And Carolus exits. Act 4, Scene 4. Enter Helen, the widow, and Diana.
That you may well perceive I have not wronged you. What of the greatest in the Christian world shall be my surety? For whose throne 'tis needful ere I can perfect mine intents to kneel. Time was I did him a desired office here almost as his life, which gratitude through flinty Tartar's bosom would peep forth, and answer thanks. I duly am informed his grace is at Marseilles, to which place we have convenient convoy. You must know I am supposed dead, the army breaking. My husband hies him home, where heaven aiding, and by the leave of my good lord the king, we'll be before our welcome.
Gentle madam, you never had a servant to whose trust your business was more welcome.
Nor you, mistress, ever a friend whose thoughts more truly labor to recompense your love. Doubt not but heaven hath brought me up to be your daughter's dower, as it hath fated her to be my motive and helper to a husband. But oh, strange men, that can such sweet use make of what they hate, when saucy trusting of the cozened thoughts defiles the pitchy night, so lust doth play with what it loathes, for that which is away. But more of this hereafter. You, Diana, under my poor instructions, yet must suffer something in my behalf.
Let death and honesty go with your impositions. I am yours, upon your will to suffer.
Yet I pray you, but with the word the time will bring on summer, when briars shall have leaves as well as thorns, and be as sweet as sharp. We must away. Our wagon is prepared, and time revives us. All's well that ends well, still the fines of the crown. Whate'er the course, the end is the renown.
And they exit. Act 4, Scene 5. Enter the clown, old lady, and LeFew.
No. Oh,
No. Your son was misled with the snicked taffeta fellow there, whose villainous saffron would have made all the unbaked and dewy youth of a nation in his color. Your daughter-in-law had been alive at this hour, and your son here at home, more advanced by the king than by that red-tailed humblebee I speak of.
I would I had not known him. It was the death of the most virtuous gentlewoman that ever nature had praise for creating. If she had partaken of my flesh and cost me the dearest groans of a mother, I could not have owed her a more rooted love.
'Twas a good lady, 'twas a good lady. We may pick 1,000 salads ere we light on such another herb.
Indeed, sir, she was the sweet marjoram of the salad, or rather the herb of grace.
They are not herbs, you knave, they are nose herbs.
Well, I am no great Nebuchadnezzar, sir. I have not much skill in grace.
Whether dost thou profess thyself a knave or a fool?
Oh, a fool, sir, at a woman's service, and a knave at a man's.
Your distinction?
I would cozen the man of his wife and do his service.
Oh, so you were a knave at his service indeed.
And I would give his wife my bauble, sir, to do her service.
Oh, I will subscribe for thee. Thou art both knave and fool.
Oh, at your service.
No.
Why, sir, if I cannot serve you, I can serve as great a prince as you are.
Who's that? What, a Frenchman?
Faith, sir. I has an English mane, but his physiognomy is much hotter in France than there.
What prince is that?
The Black Prince, sir, alias the Prince of Darkness, alias the Devil.
Hold thee, there's my purse. I give thee not this to suggest thee from thy master thou talk'st of. Serve him still.
Well, I am a woodland fellow, sir, that always loved a great fire. And the master I speak of ever keeps a good fire, but sure, he is the prince of the world. Let his nobility remain in his court. I am for the house with the narrow gate, which I take to be too little for pomp to enter. Some that humble themselves may, but the many will be too chill and tender, and they'll be for the flowery way that leads to the broad gate and the great fire.
Go thy ways. I begin to be aweary of thee, and I tell thee so before, because I would not fall out with thee. Go thy ways, and let my horses be well looked to, without any tricks.
Oh, if I put any tricks upon them, sir, they shall be jades tricks, which are their own right by law of nature.
Oh, a shrewd knave and an unhappy.
So he is. My lord that's gone made himself much sport out of him. By his authority he remains here, which he thinks is a patent for his sauciness. And indeed, he has no pace, but runs where he will.
I like him well. 'Tis not amiss. And I was about to tell you, since I heard of the good lady's death, and that my lord your son was upon his return home, I moved the king my master to speak in the behalf of my daughter, which in the minority of them both, his majesty, out of a self-gracious remembrance, did first propose. His highness hath promised me to do it, and to stop up the displeasure he hath conceived against your son. There is no fitter matter. How does your ladyship like it?
With very much content, my lord, and I wish it happily effected.
His highness comes post from Marcellus, of as able body as when he numbered 30. Will be here tomorrow, or I am deceived by him that in such intelligence hath seldom failed.
It rejoices me that I hope I shall see him ere I die. I have letters that my son will be here tonight. I shall beseech your lordship to remain with me till they meet together.
Madam, I was thinking with what manners I might safely be admitted.
You need but plead your honorable privilege.
Lady, of that I have made a bold charter, but I thank my God it holds yet.
Oh, madam, yonder's my lord, your son, with a patch of velvet on his face, and whether there be a scar under it or no, the velvet knows, but 'tis a goodly patch of velvet. His left cheek, a 2 and a half, but his right cheek is worn bare.
A scar nobly got, or a noble scar, is a good livery of honor, so belike is that.
But it is your carbonadoed face.
Well, let us go see your son, I pray you. I long to talk with the young noble soldier.
Oh, faith, there's a dozen of them with delicate fine hats and most courteous feathers, which bow the head and nod at every man.
And they exit. Act 5, Scene 1. Enter Helen, the widow, with Diana and 2 attendants.
But this exceeding posting day and night must wear your spirits low. We cannot help it. But since you have made the days and nights as one to wear your gentle limbs in my affairs, Be bold you do so grow in my requital, as nothing can unroot you. In happy time. But this man may be to his majesty's care if he would spend his power. God save you, sir.
And you?
Sir, I have seen you in the court of France.
Oh, I have been sometimes there.
I do presume, sir, that you are not fallen from the report that goes upon your goodness, and therefore goaded with most sharp occasions which lay nice manners by, I put you to the use of your own virtues, for the which I shall continue thankful.
What's your will?
That it will please you to give this poor petition to the king, and aid me with that store of power you have to come into his presence.
Well, the king's not here.
Not here, sir?
Not indeed. He hence removed last night, and with more haste than is his use.
Oh, Lord, how we lose our pains.
All's well that ends well yet, though time seems so adverse and means unfit. I do beseech you, whither is he gone?
Mary, as I take it to Roussillon, whither I am going.
I do beseech you, sir, since you are like to see the king before me, commend the paper to his gracious hand, which I presume shall render you no blame, but rather make you thank you for your pains for it. I will come after you with what good speed our means will make us means.
This I'll do for you.
And you shall find yourself to be well thanked whate'er falls more. We must go to horse again. Go, provide.
Act 5, Scene 2, enter the clown and Parolles.
Good Monsieur Lavache, give my Lord Laffield this letter. I have ere now, sirs, been better known to you when I have held familiarity with fresher clothes. But I am now, sir, muddied in Fortune's mood, and smells somewhat strong of her strong displeasure.
Truly, Fortune's displeasure is but sluttish if it smells so strongly as thou speakst of. I will henceforth eat no fish of Fortune's buttering. Prithee, allow the wind.
Nay, you need not to stop your nose, sir. I spake but by a metaphor.
Indeed, sir. If your metaphor stink, I will stop my nose, or against any man's metaphor. Prithee, get thee further.
Pray you, sir, deliver me this paper.
Prithee, stand away. Paper from Fortune's clothes stool to give to a nobleman. Oh, look, here he comes himself. Here is a purr of Fortune, sir, or of Fortune's cat, but not a muscat, and he has fallen into the unclean fish pond of her displeasure, and as he says, is muddled withal. Pray you, sir, use the carp as you may, for he looks like a poor, decayed, ingenious, foolish, rascally knave. I do pity his distress in my smiles of comfort, and leave him to your lordship.
My lord, I am a man whom fortune hath cruelly scratched.
And what would you have me to do? 'Tis too late to pare her nails now. Wherein have you played the knave with fortune, that she should scratch you, who of herself is a good lady, and would not have knaves thrive long under? There's a cardicue for you. Let the justices make you and Fortune friends. I am for other business.
I beseech your honor to hear me one single word.
You beg a single penny more. Come, you shall have it. Save your word.
My name, my good lord, is Parolles.
Oh, you beg more than word then. Cox, my passion, give me your hand. How does your drum?
Oh, my good lord, you were the first that found me.
Was I in sooth? And I was the first that lost thee.
It lies in you, my lord, to bring me in some grace, for you did bring me out.
Out upon thee, knave! Dost thou put upon me at once both the office of God and the devil? One brings thee in grace, and the other brings thee out. The king's coming, I know his trumpets. Sirrah, inquire further after me. I had talk of you last night. Though you are a fool and a knave, you shall eat. Go to, follow.
I praise God for you.
Act 5, Scene 3, flourish of trumpets, and the king enters with the Countess, the two French lords with attendants.
We lost a jewel of her, and our esteem was made much poorer by it. But your son, as mad in folly, lacked the sense to know her estimation how.
'Tis past, my liege, and I beseech your majesty to make it natural rebellion, done in the blade of youth, when oil and fire too strong for reason's force o'erbears it and burns on.
My honored lady, I have forgiven and forgotten all, though my revenges were high bent upon him and watched the time to shoot.
This I must say, but first I beg my pardon. The young lord did to his majesty, his mother, and his lady offense of mighty note, but to himself the greatest wrong of all. He lost a wife whose beauty did astonish the survey of richest eyes, whose words all ears took captive, whose dear perfection hearts that scorn to serve humbly called mistress.
Praising what is lost makes the remembrance dear. Well, call him hither. We are reconciled, and the first view shall kill all repetition. Let him not ask our pardon. The nature of his great offense is dead, and deeper than oblivion we do bury the incensing reliquies of it. Let him approach a stranger, no offender, and inform him so 'tis our will he should.
I shall, my liege.
What says he to your daughter? Have you spoke?
All that he is hath reference to your highness.
Then shall we have a match. I have letters sent me that sets him high in fame.
Oh, he looks well on't.
I am not a day of season, for thou mayest see a sunshine and a hail in me at once. But to the brightest beams distracted clouds give way, so stand thou forth, the time is fair again.
My high repented blames, dear sovereign, pardon to me.
All is whole. Not one word more of the consumed time. Let's take the instant by the forward top. For we are old, and on our quickest degrees the inaudible and noiseless foot of time steals ere we can affect them. You remember the daughter of this lord?
Admiringly, my liege. At first I struck my choice upon her, ere my heart durst make too bold a herald of my tongue, where the impression of mine eye in fixing contempt his scornful perspective did lend me, which warped the line of every other favor, scorned a fair color or expressed it stolen, extended or contracted all proportions to a most hideous object. Thence it came that she who all men praised, and whom myself, since I have lost, have loved, was in mine eye that the durst that did offend it.
Well excused. That thou didst love her strikes some scores away from the great Comte. But love that comes too late, like a remorseful pardon slowly carried to the great sender, turns a sour offense, crying, that's good, that's good, that's gone. Our rash faults make trivial price of serious things we have, not knowing them until we know their grave. Oft our displeasures to ourselves unjust, destroy our friends, and after weep their dust. Our own love waking cries to see what's done, while shameful hate sleeps out the afternoon. But this sweet Helen's knell, be this sweet Helen's knell. and now forget her. Send forth your amorous token for fair Maudlin. The main consents are had, and here we'll stay to see our widower's second marriage day, which, better than the first, oh dear heaven bless, or ere they meet in me, oh nature cess.
Come on, my son, in whom my house's name must be digested. Give a favor from you to sparkle in the spirits of my daughter, that she may quickly come. By my old beer and every hair that's on it, Helen that's dead was a sweet creature. Oh, such a ring as this, that the last that ere I took her leave at court, I saw upon her finger.
Hers it was not.
Now, pray, you let me see it. For mine eye, while I was speaking, oft was fast to it. This ring was mine. And when I gave it, Helen, I bade her, if her fortunes ever stood necessity to help, that by this token I would relieve her. Had you that craft to relieve her of what should stead her most?
My gracious sovereign, however it please you to take it so, the ring was never hers.
Son, on my life, I have seen her wear it, and she reckoned it at her life's rate.
I am sure I saw her wear it.
You're deceived, my lord. She never saw it. In Florence was it from a casement thrown me, wrapped in paper which contained the name of her that threw it. Noble she was, and thought I stood engaged, but when I had subscribed to mine own fortune and informed her fully, I could not answer in that course of honor, as she had made the overture. She ceased in heavy satisfaction and would never receive the ring again.
Platus himself, that knows the tinct and multiplying medicine, had not in nature's mystery more science than I have in this ring. 'Twas mine, 'twas Helen's, whoever gave it to you. Then, if you know that you are well acquainted with yourself, confess 'twas hers, and by what rough enforcement you got it from her. She called the saints to surety that she would never put it from her finger unless she gave it to yourself in bed, where you have never come, or sent it us upon her great disaster.
She never saw it.
Thou speakest it falsely, as I love mine honor, and makest conjectural fears to come into me, which I would fain shunt out if it should prove that thou art so inhumane. 'Twill not prove so. And yet I know not. Thou didst hate her deadly, and she is dead, which nothing but to close her eyes myself could win me to believe, more than to see this ring. Take him away. My forepast proofs, howe'er this matter falls, shall tase my fears of little vanity, having vainly feared too little. Away with him, we'll sift this matter further.
If you shall prove this ring was ever hers, you shall easily prove that I husbanded her bed in Florence, where yet she never was.
I am wrapped in dismal thinkings.
Gracious sovereign, whether I have been to blame or no, I know not. Here's a petition from a Florentine who hath for 4 or 5 removes come short to tender it herself. I undertook it, vanquished thereto by the fair grace and speech of the poor suppliant, who by this I know is here attending. Her business looks in her with an importing visage, and she told me in a sweet verbal brief did concern your highness with herself. Upon his many protestations to marry me, when his wife was dead, I blush to say it, he won me. Now is the Count Rosilian a widower. His vows are forfeited to me, and my honors paid to him. He stole from Florence, taking no leave, and I follow him to his country for justice. Grant it me, O king, in you it best lies.
Otherwise, a seducer flourishes and a poor maid is undone. Diana Capulet.
I will buy me a son-in-law in a fair and towel for this. I'll none at him.
The heavens have thought well on thee, Lafew, to bring forth this discovery. Seek these suitors, go speedily and bring again to the Count. I am afeard the life of Helen, lady, was foully snatched.
Now justice on the doers.
I wonder, sir, sith wives are monsters to you, and that you fly them as you swear them, lordship, yet you desire to marry. What woman's that?
I am, my lord, a wretched Florentine, derived from the ancient Capulet. My suit, as I do understand, you know, and therefore know how far I may be pitied.
I am her mother, sir, whose age and honor both suffer under this complaint. We bring, and both shall cease without your remedy.
Come hither, Count. Do you know these women?
My lord, I neither can nor will deny, but that I know them. Do they charge me further?
Why do you look so strange upon your wife?
She's none of mine, my lord.
If you shall marry, you give away this hand, and that is mine. You give away heaven's vows, and those are mine. You give away myself, which is known mine. For I by vow am so embodied yours, that she which marries you must marry me, either both or none.
Your reputation comes too short for my daughter. You are no husband for her.
My lord, this is a fond and desperate creature whom sometimes I have laughed with. Let your highness lay a more noble thought upon mine honor than for to think that I would sink it here.
Sir, for my thoughts, you have them ill to friend, till your deeds gain them fairer. Prove your honor, then in my thought it lies.
Good my lord, ask him upon his oath if he does think he had not my virginity.
What sayest thou to her?
She's impudent, my lord, and was a common gamester at the camp.
He does me wrong, my lord. If I were so, he might have bought me at a common price. Do not believe him. Oh, behold this ring, whose high respect and rich validity did lack a parallel. Yet for all that, he gave it to a commoner o' the camp, if I be one.
He blushes, and 'tis it. Of 6 preceding ancestors, that gem conferred by testament to the secret issue hath it been owed and worn. This is his wife, that rings 1,000 proofs.
Methought you said you saw one here in court could witness it.
I did, my lord, but loath am to produce so bad an instrument. His name's Paroles.
I saw the man today, if man he be.
Find him and bring him hither.
What of him? He's quoted for a most perfidious slave, with all the spots of the world taxed and debauched, whose nature sickens but to speak the truth. Am I or that or this for what he'll utter? That will speak anything?
She hath that ring of yours.
I think she has. Certain it is I liked her and boarded her in the wanton way of youth. She knew her distance and did angle for me, madding my eagerness with her restraint. As all impediments in fancy's course are motives for more fancy. And in fine, her in sweet coming with her modern grace subdued me to her rate. She got the ring, and I had that which any inferior might at market price have bought.
I must be patient. You that have turned off a first so noble wife may justly diet me. I pray you, yet, since you lack virtue, I will lose a husband. Send for your ring, I will return it home and give me mine again.
I have it not.
What ring was yours, I pray you?
Sir, much like the same upon your finger.
Know you this ring? This ring was his of late.
And this was it I gave him, being a bed.
The story then goes false. You threw it him out of the casement.
I have spoke the truth.
My lord, I do confess the ring was hers.
You boggle shrewdly. Every feather starts you. Is this the man you speak of?
Aye, my lord.
Tell me, Cyril, but tell me true, I charge you, not fearing the displeasure of your master, which on your just proceeding I'll keep off. By him and this woman here, what know you?
So please your majesty, my master hath been an honorable gentleman. Tricks he hath in him, which gentlemen have.
Come to the purpose. Did he love this woman?
Faith, sir, he did love her, but how?
How, I pray you?
He did love her, sir, as a gent loves a woman.
How is that?
He loved her, sir, and loved her not.
Yes, thou art a knave and no knave. What an equivocal companion is this?
I am a poor man, and at your majesty's command.
He's a good drum, my lord, but a naughty orator.
Do you know he promised me marriage?
Faith, I know more than I'll speak.
But wilt thou not speak all thou knowest?
Yes, so please your majesty. I did go between them, as I said, but more than that, he loved her, for indeed he was mad for her, and talked of Satan, and of limbo, and of furies, and I know not what. Yet I was in that credit with them at that time, that I knew of their going to bed, and of other motions, as promising her marriage, and things which would derive me ill will to speak of. Therefore, I will not speak what I know.
Thou hast spoken all already, unless thou canst say they are married, but thou art too fine in thy evidence, therefore stand aside. This ring, you say, was yours?
Aye, my good lord.
Where did you buy it, or who gave it you?
It was not given me, nor did I not buy it.
Who lent it you?
It was not lent me either.
Where did you find it then?
I found it not.
If it were yours by none of all these ways, how could you give it him?
I never gave it him.
This woman's an easy glove, my lord. She goes off and on at pleasure.
This ring was mine. I gave it his first wife.
It might be yours or hers for aught I know.
Take her away. I do not like her now. To prison with her and away with him. Unless thou tellest me where thou hadst this ring, thou diest within this hour.
I'll never tell you.
Take her away.
I'll put in bail, my liege.
I think thee now some common customer.
By Jove, if ever I knew man, 'twas you.
Wherefore hast thou accused him all this while?
Because he's guilty, and he is not guilty. He knows I am no maid, and he'll swear to it. I'll swear I am a maid, and he knows not. Great king, I am no strumpet. By my life, I am either maid or else this old man's wife.
She does abuse our ears. To prison with her.
Good mother, fetch my bail. Stay royal, sir. The jeweler that owes the ring is sent for, and he shall surety me. But for this lord, who hath abused me as he knows himself, though yet he never harmed me, here I quit him. He knows himself my bed he hath defiled, and at that time he got his wife with child. Dead though she be, she feels her young one kick. So there's my riddle, one that's dead is quick, and now behold the meaning.
Is there no exorcist beguiles the truer office of mine eyes? Is it real that I see?
No, my good lord, 'tis but the shadow of a wife you see. The name, not the thing.
Both, oh, pardon.
Oh, my good lord, when I was like this maid, I found you wondrous kind. There is your ring. And look you, here's your letter. This it says, when from my finger you can get this ring, and is by me with child, etc., this is done. Will you be mine now you are doubly won?
If she, my liege, can make me know this clearly, I'll love her dearly, ever, ever dearly.
If it appear not plain, and prove untrue, deadly divorce step between me and you. Oh, my dear mother, do I see you living?
Mine eyes smell onions. I shall weep anon. Good Tom Drum, lend me a handkerchief. So I thank thee. Wait on me home. I'll make sport with thee. Let thy curtsies alone. They are scurvy ones.
Let us from point to point this story know, to make even truth in pleasure flow. If thou beest yet a fresh unpropped flower, choose thou thy husband, and I'll pay thy dower. For I can guess that by this honest aid, thou keepest a wife herself, thyself a maid. Of that and all the progress, more and less, resolvedly more leisure shall express. All yet seems well, and if it end so meet, the bitter past, the more welcome is the sweet.
The king's a beggar. Now the play is done. All is well ended. If this suit be won, that you express content, which we will pay with strife to please you, day exceeding day. Ours be your patience then, and yours our parts. Your gentle hands lend us, and take our hearts. End of play.
Comedies, yay. Oh. Well done. Yes. Thank you all. Thank you all very much. Very good job. This is a long play, and then suddenly, boom, there's the end. Okay.
Yeah.
We bring in Helena, and then boom, Helen, and there's the Deus Ex Machina. So great. Terrific work. Thank you so much, Christina. So great. Terrific work.
That was so fun. Such a good play. I love this one.
Yeah, it's so interesting. So many great things. And yeah, Eduardo, I mean, Bertram, one of the most challenging male roles to make appealing, but you did a really good job and really terrific work, everyone.
Great.
Thank you.
Well done. This
Yeah.
play is so ancient feeling, but it's so modern feeling too, you know?
Yeah, well, and also another one with the bed trick, as with Measure for Measure, this idea that it's like, okay, the guy is so horny, he's not going to notice. It's a different woman than he thought it was in bed with him. But, well, there you are. Yeah, I've still got the live stream going. Anybody, if you've got any sort of final words or observations on All's Well or anything you want to make before I end the live stream?
I don't think so. You guys all were so great.